Hello, everyone. It's Weekly Manga Recap time here on July the 16th of 2025. It's your boy Nick, it's your girl Quinn, and we're going to talk about manga today. Aren't we?
Eventually. We have other things we could talk about. I just took a trip.
Yeah.
I saw the Backstreet Boys live, Nick.
Did you?
Yes. In Las
Wow.
Vegas, in the Sphere, with my sister. Got to see them on the biggest screen I have ever seen in my life.
I was going to say.
I was a little... I handled it okay, but there were a couple things that I was like, all right, well, this is a lot to visually look at. But in full admittance, I was high when I went to the event, so
Okay.
there was a little bit of like, well, this is too much. However, this is like full video for a room full of people. And I was just thinking to like the poor 60-year-old woman who's like looking up and has never seen a screen this big in her life that is just going to get assaulted with like spaceship imagery in a second. It was a wild thing for them. However, I will say, Nick, Vegas, very expensive.
I've heard, yeah.
Yeah, I've always heard that. It was still more expensive than I thought.
Well, it's not your first time to, like, that area, isn't it? So...
I mean, I was in Reno for Kick-Ass,
okay.
yeah, but that's like Little Vegas, and I was also like 21. I don't think I had a concept for money
What
at
things
that point.
cost, yeah. The permanence of the money being deducted from your bank account.
Where I'm like, wait a minute, I had to work for all of that. Where is it going now?
Man.
Everything was very expensive. The crowning moment, I think, of all of it was we needed to get food before the Backstreet Boys concert. And most of the restaurants inside of the hotel
going to serve you during the concert. That's
well, we'll get to that maybe. I needed to get something to eat. My sister was gonna get pizza, and I was just like, I just don't want to have pizza again. I'm in Vegas. Hey, they have like a specialty chicken place, or at least it's a chicken place I've never heard of. I'm just gonna grab something there. So I got 3 chicken tenders, fries, and a bottle of water. Nick, I want you to guess how much that cost.
$21.
Higher.
What? $30.
Higher.
Jesus! For how many chicken tenders?
3.
3 chicken tenders, fries, and a water.
Yes. Now, bottled water. This isn't water straight from the tap. This is bottled water that's been sitting on ice, so it's fancy.
We got this from the mountaintops of, I don't know, the back alley where we keep this in our refrigerator. All right. If we assume the bottled water is $8 plus tax, and the chicken tenders themselves are $15 plus tax, and the fries are $43.
Not that high. $33 is how much I paid for all 3 of those items. But I did feel like shot.
I'm not going to be done this time.
Because here's the thing. The first night we were there, we went to the slots.
Disney World money. Yeah. Jesus.
The first night we were there, we went over to the slots, and I haven't really gambled too much in my life. I've only been to Atlantic City once when I was actually older than a child. So I was like, you know what? I'm in Vegas. Might not ever make it again. Who knows? But like, let's gamble a little bit. So I was like, I'm going to put a moderate, very small amount down. Made $40 at the end of the night. I was like, all right.
And then you stopped.
Yes. I was like, you know what? I'm ahead. I was going to be fine if I made it back to parity or if I just lost it all. I was prepared for that. I made a little bit. I'm just going to stop. That one fucking chicken tender meal took out everything. All my gains, all my profits gone. Chicken sucked, by the way. It was awful.
Oh, of course, yeah. Oh man, I remember that one time that we were at MagFest, and I like missed like all the groups that were getting breakfast. So I tracked down a place that had like a muffin. It was like the worst muffin that I had ever had in my entire life. And I remember Sad Panda like watching me sadly eat this disgusting muffin. And then a bunch of people got like Subway, and it's just like someone went to get like a run of stuff, and someone asked like uh someone was asked, I can't remember who it was, asked like, what do you want? And so they said just meat, and so Linkara interpreted that as
Oh
all
God,
the
yeah,
meat.
I do recall that. I recall it
And
was
no
the
one
every.
wanted, and I was like, I have had just the worst muffin in the world, and there's no other food, so I will eat this. And it was one of those things where I was like, I was so hungry that I was eating this, but the sandwich was so bad that it did not matter.
Every meat at Subway is a lot of different meats.
So much meat, yeah. Because I mean,
And
like,
also that sub had to be like $20 back in the day. Like,
because it would have been, it was like meatballs and ham and like just every meat. I think except they didn't do like fish on it, but it was like chicken, beef, ham, meatballs, like
just stuffed and dripping, not a vegetable in sight.
I don't think there was. And I was like, this is so awful, but I'm so hungry. And I ate like, I think half of the 6-inch sub. And was like, all right, that'll be enough to last me.
This will survive me. Do you ever think of those days where you're like, I did a lot of damage to my body that day?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I can't really imagine, because there are so many things that I used. Like I talk pretty freely about like how I used to subsist on chicken pot pies and peanut butter sandwiches when I was in college, and then Pop-Tarts for breakfast. Like I did so much bad shit back then. So no, not a balanced meal in sight unless I was getting fancy or something. It was so bad. And
You know what?
yeah,
It's Christmas. I'll use a napkin.
God, I gained like 40 pounds when I was in college, and like it was not a mystery as to how. So, oh man,
Well, we do have a lot of podcasts to still get to, a lot of manga to talk about. I'll simply say that my trip was very, very wonderful. The Backstreet Boys still have it, but my mom likes the one whose opinions suck and calls it the Gulf of America. So I'm team everyone but him. That's my allegiance in the Backstreet Boys war.
I didn't know there was a war, but now we have to win it. So
Look, I'm just saying, I saw 40-year-old white women at their most powerful at that event. Like, they were never going to be stronger than that. So yeah. I wouldn't want to go against them. They coordinated. Every fucking woman I saw was wearing white to that event. The Backstreet Boys just put out one post that was like, it'd be cool if everyone wore white. And every single person did.
We decided it's Labor Day this weekend. It is a little bit weird. I was having a conversation with my dad the other day about, as we were talking, because he's as big a nerd as I am. And so we were talking a bit about like Star Wars stuff for whatever reason. And I brought up like, it's like, man, that movie's going to be 50 years old in a couple of years. And he was like, yep, because he saw that when he was, he was like a preteen basically. Yeah. And so I admitted to him, like, I'm totally fine with like looking ahead and understanding like I'm going to be 40 soon. I'm going to be 50 not too long after that, I'm totally fine with those upcoming milestones for myself. I'm not prepared for like my favorite movie to be 40 years old.
You're not prepared for them to be like, now celebrating the 30th anniversary of Daredevil. And you're like, no.
Jesus Christ. Something like that. And that's what you talking about, like 40 women in their 40s going to the Backstreet Boys concert.
Oh, yeah. It's very funny watching them like smooth around. You're like, damn. I know we always joked about how funny it was going to be, but it actually is very funny to see these guys pushing 50 and they're still like with backwards like hats on and stuff like that. Amazing show. I loved every moment of it, but it is. The catharsis is there.
Yeah.
All right. We have a bunch of manga still.
Nostalgia. There is a flashback that we have to begin this chapter of Ichi the Witch to kick off the recap portion of the podcast. 40-second hunt awareness, which is told from the perspective of the Joyous Sorrow magic, who recounts the tale of when they first manifested into the world. Intrinsically knew what they were, that they could bring both joy and sorrow to humanity. Sounds interesting. But also that there was nothing in the world more beautiful than sorrow. And they so happened to come into existence in the aftermath of the World Hater magic having warped a section of the world. And the Joy of Sorrow magic is completely blown away by this, and then they lay eyes upon the World Hater magic, who doesn't seem all that happy that this tapir creature is here. Just like, what the fuck are you looking at? Kind of looking in their eyes.
I have to almost assume a level of it is like, I don't know. I assume a level of it is like looking down on it, but also this guy does seem to be very magic forward. So maybe it is like, another one of my flock to guard, or he might just be like, another one of you bitches who's not as good as me.
Here's another one. Yeah. Need that on like a t-shirt. Another one of you bitches who's not as good as me.
If you put that face next to it, though, everyone will know exactly the tone they're supposed to be conveying it with.
Everyone, yeah.
Yeah.
The Joy of Sorrow magic immediately starts standing for the World Hater magic, going, oh my gosh, and her eyes meet, and at that point takes their more humanoid form and declares like, oh, I knew then and there it was our destiny that I had manifested, and I knew one day I would stand at the side of my god and help drown the world in sorrow. I was the chosen one. And, made plans, found the country of Gagami to start gathering strength, and then, of course, Ichi came along and ruined it. And we pull back, and of course, the Joy of Sorrow magic is now in Ichi's magic circle, along with all of the other magics who aren't very happy with their new roommate.
It's so funny. Oro just fucking pointing, being like, "Do something."
Do something with this guy, please. He just says to Ichi, like, yeah, ever since he showed up in here, he just has not shut the fuck up about the World Hater magic and how pissed he is.
Ooh. I love this comment from Ataro. I'm horribly mispronouncing that. Ichi having one Pokemon away from a full team. What would the types be?
Uroro has to be dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
World Hater, not World Hater, sorry. Joy of Sorrow would be Ghost, I think.
Ghost Psychic? Psychic seems to deal a lot with
Psychic.
Dreams.
Yeah. Of course, we've got Hisame, the frozen shark. That is it's a clear layout for water ice.
Yeah, clear layout.
We've got the Kumo is a bug and probably something else, maybe steel to go with the cage thing. And then is it Inarba? I can't remember the Thunder Fox one, but that's electric.
That's just electric. Solid dunk. Good job.
Electric. That's like the the cutesy electric type that you get early on in the game that nobody really uses.
So probably like fighting type or dragon, I imagine, next spirit Ichi will acquire then. Make sure his team has coverage.
Absolutely. It doesn't have a flying type yet, I think. So
no flying type, no fairy. Although, if you give a third type, the shark would get fairy. She's fabulous, Nick.
Absolutely. Maybe fairy ice, and just kind of like, wouldn't it be one of those Pokemon where it's just like, how is Charizard not a dragon type? You can just be kind of one of those kind of cases. How is the shark not a water type? It's like, hey, look, there was already a shark water Pokemon, Sharpedo, so we were just branching out a little bit. And there's only so many creatures in the world, and we have to make another 100 of these. So
every 3
we're
years,
ideas.
We have to make another 100 of you assholes. So guess what? There's another squirrel.
More tigers, more squirrels, yeah. The Joy of Sorrow magic is very much unimpressed by Uroro, despite Uroro having, a massive reputation in the world, because he's like, what are you doing? You're calling yourself the king magic? We have a god magic, the Lord World Hater. You think you're the world's number 2? Huh? Uroro just, with one of his fancy drinks, while the Joy of Sorrow magic's ripping into him. So... Nobody likes this guy.
It's so great. I just love that he's just this amorphous blob that still has like little lips poking out so he can suck on the straw.
So He pushes Ichi forward and he's like, just look, you hate this guy, right? Come on, lay the blame on him. And the Joy Magic does regain focus and says, you're not going to be able to control me at all. It was just a fluke that you acquire me. I'm not going to do anything to help you. I will undermine you any chance that I get, and then I'm going to be free and help my Lord World Hater destroy the world. And Ichi says, hey, the next time I see the World Hater magic, the first thing we're going to do is throw them in you in their face. Immediately. And the Joy Magic's like, wait, what? And Ichi's like, yeah, maybe I'll use Aurora, amp you up, sure.
Either way. No, like, he's like, I may modify it, but I'm sending you in first, motherfucker.
And yeah, he's like, you can't do that. Yeah, I can. I'm your master, and I can do with your power what I want. So, yeah, Gokuraku beat you in the hunt, but I acquired you. I'm your master, so you have to listen to me. So don't annoy my other magics, don't undermine my hunts, and obey all my orders. If you do all that and don't break my rules, then maybe I won't use you. But if you break my rules, I will use you to attack the World Hater. You get it? Answer me.
The answer me is so harsh. He didn't need him to actually say it, but that was a power move.
Yeah. And the Ichi's just completely, stone-faced during all this. Doesn't get angry, doesn't rise or anything. Just he has the plan, and then he just gets Joy Sorrow in line. And as soon as the Joy Sorrow magic agrees, Aurora's like, all right, get out of here. And shoves him through a portal to go wake up. As he vanishes, the other magics are like, holy shit, that was really scary. And Aurora is just thinking, this is bad, because he came back from the hunt with something even worse. The awareness that he's in charge. Which is a bit of an indication that Ichi is going to be, craftier, more powerful, because he's understanding, like, hey, I've got these powers and they're mine. And Aurora likens him to being not just a lone mutt, but realizing that he stands at the head of a pack now. Aurora, of course, just like Joy Sorrow Magic, wants to get out of this situation, so he's like, I gotta deal with this before he reaches his full potential.
Yeah.
Ichi wakes up. Team Descarus are all there. And Ichi reports like, oh yeah, I made sure to put my foot down with Bakugami and everything. And we get a little flashback to just kind of like cover some of the bases in terms of Gokuraku saying goodbye to everyone, because everyone is currently traveling. They're in like what looks like a really big cart at this time, like a big caravan wagon. So Gokuraku was, apologized to by like the head priest guy, his father. I don't know, hugged him, hopefully said sorry.
I was gonna say, I was like, Gokuraku's a nicer guy than, I forgave my dad for some stuff. So you know what? Never mind. Me and Gokuraku are in the same club. You know what? Sometimes your dad, who's a shithead, comes up to you and you're like, come here, dad, come here, pops.
And then Richiya, as the new queen of their people, thanked him on behalf of the village of Kagami and says, we shall patiently await the return of our prince. And then they have a nice big goodbye, and we cut directly from Gokuraku waving all happy to being all uneasy and gloomy. And Ichi thinks it's motion sickness, and Gokuraku has explained, it's glad that, I got to go off with you guys, and going on a journey is great and all, but we're going to, and Descarus is like, yeah, we're going to the Matinel Witches Association, and it's full of witches who had their trials derailed thanks to you, and they're not really going to be happy when we get there.
I love the shot of the three witches. I like that. What is it? Shiro Badona, I think, is the one on the left.
Yes.
I love her eyeball boots. I love that she just. I like to think those are her true eyes as well, and she's only just now seeing us. And Toga Ichi just looking as cool as always.
Yeah. So this is obviously something that kind of needed to happen at some point, not just because of the reality of, hey, it was established that Gokuraku fucked up a bunch of acquisition trials, but also that he's got to get his arm fixed at some point or another. And if that's going to happen, probably need to go to the Witches Association so that they can do the stuff with the tools on him.
Yeah, we got a lot of little fun character moments here, like Gokuraku being like, I think I might have made some enemies at the Witches Association. Like, I've been kind of high spirits until I realized that I actually might get my shit pushed in very soon. I like that moment. I also like when Ichi just wakes up and he's like, I'm back! And Gokuraku's like, from where? I thought you just went to sleep. And Ichi's just like, I was talking to my magics. You're like, oh shit. I guess this is just how this dude communicates. Yeah, this is a fun chapter though. I think there was a lot of nice elements. Ichi the Witch just kind of nailing every part of the story at this point.
Yep, this was a little bit unexpected in terms of exactly what we got, but there's some follow through from a couple of things that makes perfect sense, and I'm looking forward to seeing stuff involving Gokuraku some more. I like the idea of, hey, this is a guy who sacrificed everything for the sake of this mission of setting his people and his sister free, but in terms of doing that, he did a lot of reckless stuff, and the long-term consequences of that are a thing that he has to deal with. So he has to, stand by the choices that he made, even though they were good choices. So, yeah. And also it's just nice to see the Witches Association characters again, because we did get to know a few of them and enjoy them.
Yes.
All right. Then we're gonna go on over to... Where's my... Oh, I moved my browser over too far in order to switch tabs. There we go. To Blue Box. Chapter... At chapter 203, Jigsaw Puzzle.
Yeah, this is the one where the Blue Box characters are captured by Jigsaw and are made to play games. But he just kind of lets them go because he's like, fuck, none of you have ever done anything bad ever, so I can't punish you.
You're all, like, relatively average teenagers, and so I suppose you haven't really had a chance to commit atrocious crimes yet. All right, goodbye. Don't...
But I've got this diaper full of spiders, so I need, if you guys know anybody who's like a real bad person, who's like a size 8-ish, then send them my way.
It's very important that they fit the diaper well, because it's just not the same if it's too tight or too loose on them. It's too tight, it kills all the bugs, and too loose, then they aren't shoved right up against them.
You don't want an ill-fitting spider diaper. It
causes complications you don't want to deal with.
All right, you get out of here, kids.
Okay.
Rubs them on the head.
You get out of here, you little rascals.
Don't forget to see your Unky Saw. Come again.
Oh, man. Yeah, so the whole group joined up last time in order to go to the temple. And as they're there, Hina happens to spot some victory charms. And of course, who could she possibly be thinking of? But maybe the guy that she, was kind of like talking to about victory charms before she went on this trip. Who could she be thinking of? More hangout happens.
Is it Nina? Is she buying it for Nina?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Nina's competition that we know all that stuff about. And
is she on the ribbon gymnastics team or...
Rhythmic gymnastics, yes.
Ribbon gymnastics. You got what I was going for, okay?
I understood, yes.
Is she on the team or not? I'm
pretty sure she is.
All right, then there we go. Maybe she's looking for luck in her competition.
Ayame, Hina, and Nina hang out a lot together. They have a good time, just like they were planning to. They eat ice cream that looks like poop, and they just have a great time having all sorts of snacks on their trip.
Ice cream used to look like that back in the day, Nick. They took that from us. Now we think of poop first instead of ice cream?
Yeah.
They've taken everything from us.
Sure. It's just soft serve ice cream. So... They're talking about it a little bit, and Ayame cuts out, and it's because she has to meet up with Takasago, who asked her to come out and talk to him, and she's like, "Oh, I also wanted to talk to you about something." And both of them kind of awkwardly start to talk, and but Takasago goes first, and he says, "I think we should break up." And Ayame clearly like kind of knows that this was like coming, and she is like apologizes, and he says, "Nah, it's me. I think that we were both being too considerate and hesitant to show our true selves. And we weren't together for very long, but I had fun. So thank you." And he just starts to go, "Well, bye." It's like, all right, you gonna let her say anything, dude?
Honestly, this is the ideal breakup. They just say the reasons why. It's mostly not your fault. You're actually super cool, and then they just leave with no catharsis. That's honestly my ideal way to be broken up with. Like if a carrier pigeon is like, "It's not you, it's me," and then it flies away, I'm like, you know what? That was a pretty good way to end it, all things considered.
Ayame realizes that it's kind of happened again, where like, something didn't follow through that she was involved in, and she relates it again to the jigsaw imagery, where like she can't finish anything, but at least she can finish a jigsaw.
Oh, poor Ayame.
But it loses a little bit of the effectiveness, because then she explains to Takasago, "I think it might be the same as with jigsaw puzzles." To which he goes, "Wait, what the fuck are you talking about?" And she explains the finished image looked different between you and me. So there were some overlapping styles and some parts clicked, but I was the Nozomi while you were the Kodama. And he's like, "What?"
What the fuck are you talking about?
And which are they're trains. So like they share some tracks, but anyway. So she says, "We're not defective as people. We're both capable of creating the wonderful romances that we dreamed of." And I feel like I did mess up in this relationship, because you are a good guy. You're a catch. And you're going to have a lot of cool. And he says, "I'm actually not that great a guy. But yeah, I agree with you. We should both try and find like romances that suit us." And as he walks off, he reflects on like, some of his shortcomings in the relationship, which are like, I'm kind of possessive. I get like preoccupied with myself, and I can be manipulative, which is like, hey, he acknowledged that.
I'm going to say, yeah, this is a lot of self-awareness for like a kid to have. So
he's like 16. And
yeah.
But he's realized kind of what's going on too between Ayame and Kyo. And he's like, "You should have just gone out with each other from the start." He doesn't tell her that, though. He's like, "You guys should have just gone out with each other." And yes, they should have, but it's okay. You don't know the circumstances that we know of that caused that to not happen. Ayame goes to do a jigsaw puzzle on her phone, to try and do it, and she doesn't kind of like get the same feeling from it. She's like, it's like, oh, it's not the same when it's like all intangible and stuff. There's not like that frustration I get where something doesn't quite fit, even though I can see where it might.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, she thinks, I wonder how distorted my piece is. And I'm sure having friends has rounded out my corners a bit.
Yeah. Have you ever played puzzle on your phone? Like done a puzzle on your phone? Yeah, I don't think it'd be the same either.
Ayame gets frustrated with the puzzle and goes, "It's too difficult," or presumably like she's just frustrated with her circumstances. And then she has a wonderful reaction face because Kyo happens to walk by right when she makes that exclamation. And then she's just got this big round face in the corner of this panel that I really like.
It is very funny. This boy has like the mutant ability to show up exactly when is like the most inconvenient.
Oh, why are you here when I'm at my lowest again?
Like, this is the third time this trip.
He's just like, why are you freaking out all by yourself again? Couple girls come up to Kyo and say like, "Oh, hope you had a good day," and they just kind of exchange pleasantries. And again, Ayame's like, "Nothing fits." So, Kyo's like, "What are you talking about?" She says, "You're so lucky, being such a simple puzzle." And Kyo's like, "What are you talking about?" It's like, we're not here for your narration, Ayame.
I was like,
know what you're thinking about.
Ayame, girl, stop talking about the fucking puzzle. No one else was there. No one else gets it.
Hina and Nina come to rescue her from this conversation, say, "Oh, yeah, we're going to go take a bath and stuff." And Ayame's like, "Oh, thank God, friends, this is great." And you know what? You're right, Ayame. Yes, you might have difficulties in love, but you got two best friends that you like to do everything with, and that's nice. But there is a funny thing because she's like, "Oh, this is great. Friends are the best." And Kyo goes, "Thanks, I guess." Or I think Hina says that, actually. That's not quite as funny. I don't. I thought he was being like, "Oh, all right, what am I?" So they ask, like, what did you need to wrap up? Was it like, was it a friend you needed to talk to? And she said, "Nah, I had to deal with a breakup." And Kyo is right there when she says that. Hina and Nina are like, "Oh my God, that happened so suddenly. I thought things were like going well. It's because like we barged into your time alone." No, that's not it. And then they're like, "All right, well, we're here for you if you need it." And so she walks off with the two of them. As soon as they're gone, Kyo like has just enough of a delay before he's like, "Oh shit, she's single again." And then he's like,
it's sweet because you're like, all right, don't fuck it up this time, boy.
Please.
Like you get one shot, I think, at this. Like, please make a move soon.
Ayame is a popular girl, you dumbass. Like, and so he does reflect on, like, I mean, I don't know if I'm reacting appropriately considering like this is like other people being sad, but you can't help it.
Yeah.
Ayame is taken with the girls to go meet up with some other girls, and they're like, "All right, we're on a school trip, slumber party. Let's talk about our love lives." And Ayame's to be like, "Why am I here for this? I just broke up with my boyfriend."
Yeah, like you're really like, I mean, did no one tell her? Like, obviously, don't include me in this game, then.
But no, instead they're like, "Yeah, Takasaki was such a great guy. Why did you break up with him and everything?" And she's like, "Jigsaw puzzle."
This poor girl, like, it's the first original thought she's ever had in her life, I guess, and she's really impressed with it. She's like, "You guys don't get it. He's like a puzzle." And he's just,
Oh, man.
this just becomes the foundation for which she views the rest of her life forever. She's like, in 20 years, somebody's going to be like, "How do you feel about your husband?" Be like,
No, that's not.
I want you to envision a puzzle.
That's not how it's gonna go, Quinn. In 5 years, she's gonna be like, "Why did I think that was such a deep thing?" Is that just how it is when you're a teenager and you're like, I've settled on it. I've settled on the thing that like 300,000 other people have all independently stumbled across in the last 10 years, but I'm the genius who thought of it, and this is gonna be, I'm gonna like share this philosophy with everyone I come across. And then like 5 years later, you're gonna be like, "That wasn't very deep."
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I missed on that one.
So she, she says a little bit like, "Oh, we were creating two different pictures," and someone's like, "What's that mean?" And I love that. I think it's Nina who says, "Is like, it's probably because Ayame says things like that."
I honestly thought, I was like, that's so fucking brutal. Only your friends can say that, but they're so fucking right. I wouldn't be shocked if Takasaka's like, "It's not you, it's me." Well, it's a little bit the fucking picture thing, but it's mostly me.
That list of all the petty grievances that Ayame has, like, "Oh, he wasn't like really authoritative when he was correcting people with his coffee order." Oh man, she just wouldn't stop talking about jigsaw puzzles.
She really thought it was deep. It's so fucking annoying. I heard her, she said she was gonna make a big Tumblr post about this.
So Ayame manages to like be like, "Just someone else talk about guys instead of me." So she's like, what are you guys into?" And one of them says, "Oh, well, I guess like in our class, I guess the guy that I like is Kasahara. That's Kyo.
Kyo.
Because I have a thing for guys with glasses, and immediately Ayame gets the air screen coming across, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, he's a cool, calm, composed guy." And Nina's like, "Yeah," and he takes care of his younger siblings. And Ayame's like, "Yeah, but he named his glasses Gladys and loves his glasses." Like, what is this detail?
It's a very strange detail, but you can tell she's like just trying to like everyone's like, oh my gosh, Kyo's so cool, Kyo's so fucking hot, he takes such good care. She's like, she knows the guy, so she's trying to be like, yeah, but like, he calls his glasses Gladys, like, something that you're like trying to make sound like he's a dork, but like, oh, you're not going for the throat.
Yeah, I like how even Hina, who is like has been friends with Kyo for longer than Ayame has known him, it's like, wait, what, really? But I mean, like, she's the manager of the Batman Club and he's the captain, so there would be weird times when she would just learn weird details about him like that. So someone says like, oh, what about that one kid, the first year in the Batman team with the piercings? He's hot. And she's talking about Haruto. One of the other girls has been paying attention and is like, he likes you, Hina. Maybe you want to do something. And Hina says, he doesn't like me. He just likes, being able to tease his senpai. They're like, really? That's it? Yeah! Why don't you just like, he's a cute, hot guy. Why don't you, like, nah. Just total, nope. That's, nah, that's not going on. And so they do turn their attention to Nina, and she, in a conspiratorial laugh, goes, heh heh. And I was like, wait, why? And, getting the information on that. She's got her own secret. Good for her. And we zoom in on Hina's backpack and zoom in, and inside the front pocket, there's a victory charm that she has bought.
Oh.
Hey, some things happened in this chapter, Quinn.
They are. They're moving on. That relationship has run its course, but we got the interesting sort of, I think, good introspective from both of them on their breakup. How both of them are like, this isn't actually working out super well between us. We don't actually overlap, and I think we both have to grow better. It's good lesson. They're moving on. Kyo, for the love of God, make a move.
Please.
Sometime before chapter 240, that'd be great.
Kyo, when the time is to make a move? It's right now. It's Kyo. Come on.
It's Kyo time. Yeah, decent little chapter. All right, Nick. DanDaDan. Chapter 202. Where'd the magic hammer go?
Very straightforward.
Where'd it go? That's hopefully what we'll find out in this chapter. So, the gang is running into the temple. They have left Evil Eye Gigi in the car. We see him in the car, and he is just pouting. Like, he's just like shoulders slumped, like truly the child he is, just like, But
if you ever want to, deal with the evil eye inside Gigi, just get, a spray bottle and just acting up, and he won't know how to deal with it.
So the girls and the priest go right into the temple. They're trying to find it and get around. They're stressing the importance that they only have so much time or they won't be able to lift the curse, basically. And Vamola asks, hey, what is this magic hammer? And Momo just says, well, you can definitely get the basic picture of it. And she just kind of...
Why does her picture of it look like a chunk of meat?
It's obviously one of those weird little hammer things, I think. And that's what we see on the next panel. But it does also kind of look like one of those big meat sticks Luffy would eat. Or Goku. Or most shonen protagonists at Toriko, I'm sure. Yeah. So they know, they're like, it's exactly like the magic hammer everyone visualizes. But they're like, isn't kind of weird, though? I mean, like, why would it be hidden at a major tourist attraction? And Seiko kind of pulls her hand out, stops the girls. It's like, someone's here. And all of a sudden, the shrine priest has someone clamping the hand over their mouth and a knife to their throat. And they're like, don't move or this man dies. Suddenly, our heroes are surrounded by ninja. Nick, you couldn't love this series more than you did until today.
Well, we'll get it. I was excited for about 3 pages.
Yeah. Your hype for DanDaDan has never been higher than page 6 and 7 of chapter 202. Yeah. Steadily decreases after this point. So Seiko is like, hey, what's going on? They note there's not one phantom thief. There's just a bunch of them. And Vamola is like, hey, you, stop it. Adorable.
I love her.
Precious girl. I hope he listens. The ninja, however, says, accept your defeat. Then we'll at least spare your lives. Seiko and Momo obviously picking up on that. They know how this gist works. But there's a moment where Momo's like, all right, well, I'll hold his blade with my power, and you take him down. But Seiko's like, Momo, you and Vamola get back to the taxi. If you go now, you could still get to the shrine and perform the ritual. But, Momo's like, no, if we don't help the priest, he's going to be in seriously bad news. Seiko's like, priest? What priest? All I see is an enemy. You could drop the farce now. And we get a full page of the shrine priest closing their eyes and then finally peeking it open with a very, evil character glare. And then a full page spread of the character as they change from their shrine outfit into the space tuxedo they wear for the rest of the chapter. But in that
yeah, it's a very weird bit where it's like, I need to get almost fully naked first, and then
I change in a gradient apparently, and there's a big empty naked spot in the middle. I do love Momo, who says, whoa, a whole ass pervert just arrived. And this character does not have a name. He does slightly resemble Saint Germain, but not enough that I'm going to assume it's like a duplicate or anything yet. So in the interim, I will probably call him whole ass pervert because it's the only designation he is given in this chapter. So Seiko's like, yeah, he's no priest. He never was. And I bet the hammer wasn't even stolen. This person lured us into their territory with the aim of stealing our powers. And next to whole ass pervert appears a whole ass chameleon who
I love the chameleon's design.
Yeah.
The tail's like sticking up through the clothing in such a way that it almost looks like a head from the way it's positioned. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's very cool. The chameleon says, what do we do? We've been found out. Wouldn't it be easier to just kill them and hand them over to the Serponians? And whole ass pervert says, that would be difficult, which is why I put on the performance. What are you going to do
Not
about
why I
this
flashed to
situation?
my junk, though. That was other reasons.
That I have a bit of a... I just like people to know I'm in good shape. It really makes me happy.
And that I have a tiny package.
Yeah, I have a big humiliation thing as well. Everyone needs to know about it.
I want everyone to be awed and also disgusted.
So, this is an interesting little detail because I cannot tell this character's allegiance currently right now.
Yeah.
I would assume, again, based on the way he looks, he gives me a lot of strong Saint Germain vibes, but he does not seem to be working. I believe the Sepoians and Saint Germain are like opposed. So
Yeah. He was trying to get them to surrender specifically as well.
Yeah.
So which doesn't seem to be the thing that the Serpoians are about.
Yes, I'll be curious if this is basically. I just want to find out this guy's allegiance at some point. In the meantime, things look very, very bad for our heroes. There's a moment of, again, Seiko being like, find an opportunity and get to the taxi down below. And Momo being like, no, I'll fight. But Seiko's like, we don't have time to wait. This is the only time we can lift the curse. So she starts Chun-Li like super kicking everybody so that everyone can get an opportunity to get out of there. But the chameleon summons a bunch of wood, basically, like coffins and stuff like that, that just start launching out ninjas, basically. They just stop, they just start appearing out of all the different places, and the floor opens up, and Vamola falls through. Momo uses her psychic power and grabs her and falls down with her as the floorboards then seal back up, leaving Seiko alone with the whole ass pervert. So,
Yep.
not
Seems
looking
to be,
great.
yeah, seems to be separating off the combatants. It's going to be interesting because Vimola, of course, like doesn't even freaking know that Momo is there last week.
Yes.
Doesn't have any memory of her as far as we can recall.
Was
So
specifically
how
the
are they
one
going-
used to demonstrate that she has no memory of her.
Yeah. So how are they going to work together at all? It's kind of going to be up to Momo to try and coordinate anything. So they're going up against seemingly the chameleon, who seems to be related to the ninjas in some way.
Yes.
And then this illusion guy is going up against Seiko. So we're getting another kind of like branching off fight, it looks like.
Which is
And,
rough.
yeah,
Seiko is jacked up right now. I'm really concerned for her.
she's running the gauntlet. Yeah.
Great chapter,
All right.
though.
Yeah, I dug it. I believe we did not have any other extra chapters, so it's
No,
just into
let's-
the newer stuff.
Let's move into everyone's new favorite Ekiden Bros.
Ekiden Bros.
Bro.
Day 3. He called me a toothpick.
We got to establish, like, the things, because this is going to be staying in the recap. So, like, you can say Ekiden, then I'll come in with Bros. That'll be how we'll intro it. And then, like, I don't know, do you want to do, like, a PPP style kind of, like, intro of it with this one every week? Like,
Yeah, you know what, Quinn? You know what? Every single time we cover Ekiden Bros, we'll do a new thing. How's that sound?
that's great. So we'll start with the next one, right?
So, all right. So Nobunaga made it into university because we had a 2-year time skip in chapter 2. Boy, and he's made it to college. And man, the jokes, Quinn, that are in this series. Being in college means the other students are adults. Wow. Shut your mouth, you weird boy. Shut your mouth. He won't shut his fucking mouth.
Aw. He's just so excited. Everything surprises him, Nick.
We cut to him also in the convenience store, and for some reason he's trying to guess the shopkeep's age.
Well,
No explanation as to why.
I would presume that she said something like, guess my age.
Yeah. So he guesses 42 and she's 58, which means that she's taken with him because he thought that she was much younger. So, okay.
Look, Nick, it's
Anyway.
not, as I start to get older, anytime somebody like kind of looks at me and they're like, are you in your like 20s? And I'm like, so it doesn't happen often. You take them where you can get them. If someone shaved, 16 years off my age, I'd be pretty smitten with them too. I'd be like, have some gum, get a candy bar, get in the fridge, grab yourself an energy drink. You're a growing boy. I mean, that's not going to help you grow, but you know, whatever.
I don't know the last time that anyone has ever guessed my age and been off because they thought I was younger. So, so that was when you have a graying goatee and are going bald. So, God, this is such great writing, Quinn. Because Nobunaga is thinking about Hara, the guy that was his classmate who, talked shit, and then he raced against him in the first chapter. He's thinking about him, and then he runs into him in the next page. Wouldn't you know that? Can you believe it? Wow, he ran into Hara. They're reunited. After that great foreshadowing from a page ago.
Here's the thing. I was very grateful for this because I did not remember this character when he was like, I wonder how Haru would be doing. And there was a little note and it's like, this is the person he faced in chapter 1. And then when he showed up, I was like, oh, you know what? That was helpful because I wouldn't have remembered who this guy was otherwise.
Oh, come on, Quinn. Hara. Everyone knows Hara.
Everyone remembers Hara.
Everyone knows Hara.
Shut
your mouth, Nobunaga. So
the part I really disliked about that joke, though, is that after he runs into him, there's 3 panels of reaction, and they're all labeled as cameras. And I understand the idea of visualizing your story as like how it would be animated, but that has no context here. What are these cameras referring to?
I feel as if it is because the first two shots make sense as just regular reaction shots, but the third one, where Hara literally looks at the camera, doesn't make any sense.
I'm not sure if
unless
this
you
is like
acknowledge a fourth wall break.
yeah, I'm
is
not
happening.
maybe this is a reference to like a specific kind of Japanese like television show structure that like
Maybe this is a
labels their
meme we
camera.
don't know about. Yeah.
Something like that, but I definitely was like very taken aback. I was like, why'd you label your reaction boxes? Like I could have pieced that scene together myself the same way. You didn't have to tell me the camera angle's changing.
Anyway, Nobunaga smiles like a man in his 50s and says, having a friend on the team is going to make me feel stronger. And he says, oh, but you're a sprinter, so maybe we won't see each other that much, okay? Then Hara's like, wait a minute, you're on the goddamn track team? He's like, what the hell? The hell you are? And it's like, dude, you basically lost a race to this guy when you had like a week's worth of training. What the fuck are you judging him for? He's like, oh, I became a new man on the track team in my high school, and I want to be a... And what is he talking about? You haven't been keeping in touch with this guy for this entire time. You don't know anything about him, and you're judging him and stuff. Anyway, so he's like, I know you've been running on the DL, but this is way beyond your level. How do you know? So, but Nobunaga points out, I was like, oh, actually, I got a recommendation to come to the school. He basically got like a scholarship. And he's like, how did this thing happen? There's no way that he's good enough. And then the shopkeep suddenly comes out of the store. Her purse has been stolen by two hoodlums, Quinn. Two hoodlums on
Scallywags.
Those ne'er-do-wells, they're gonna bike away with their crime.
Those blackguards. Someone has to stop them.
Those scoundrels. So those knaves. So Nobunaga, she looks up and is like, oh, please, Kazama, because she knows who Nobunaga is because he befriended her. Is like, oh, please help them. And then she's like, oh, wait, no, you're much too skinny. I need a tougher man over here. Okay. So Nobunaga's like, all right, I'll be right back. And he takes his jacket off and he starts running after them. And it's like, oh, how is he going to do that? And she's like, yeah, I know he's a marathon runner, but these long distance boys are too skinny. Can he really move fast enough?
I do kind of like them low-key dunking on runners' physiques.
And Ekiden Bros in the running manga. He's like, man, he doesn't look very cool, does he?
There is legit like a very real thing to the fact that like if you get too into running, you do tend to lose a little too much weight. It becomes, there is like a runner's body.
Even though you are very, very fit, you look really skinny.
Yeah. I like that there is like a level that included. I do like the idea that they're like, yeah, he looks so awkward. He looks so dorky.
Yeah, he looks like he's bow-legged somehow in this running image, which is just weird. Yeah. So, Hara is like, what are you trying to do, Nobu? You're not going to catch up with a bike. And he's like, I'll call the cops. It's like, all right. So Nobunaga starts to gain ground on the biking guys, on the crooks.
And you're going to tell me not a part of you think it's kind of cool that this kid is running down people on a bike?
I mean, in theory, I think that's cool, Quinn. In theory. So he starts catching up with the guys, and he just, goes into the zone, so he starts catching up with them, and they're like, holy shit, we're on bikes, and this guy is, like, he's catching up with us. And they're like, all right, well, we'll just lose him. The kid's a toothpick. What do you know about running? Like, what do you think that means? Anyway. So they're like, he only caught up because we slowed down, so let's just keep going. Let's just outrun him. And Nobunaga processes this. He goes, wait, did he just call me a toothpick? And the clerk also said that I'm skinny. Am I skinny? Oh, I can't beat myself up even though I look kind of scrawny. Now I just need to think about running. I just need to focus. And Quinn, what do you do in a manga where you've got a guy and you got to prove how cool running is? You have him run. Mm-hmm. And how do you have a guy who can run deal with robbers? He just runs, and he keeps pace with the guys on the bikes, and he keeps pace with the guys on the bikes, and they just give up. They just give up. They don't try and get violent with him. They don't try and get to a hill where they just can, use the momentum to, go downhill faster than he can run. They don't, there's two of them. They don't split up. They just give up because he won't slow down and he won't get tired. It's like, I guess we can't do anything.
I love this shit. I hope Ekiden Bros solves all of his problems with running.
The bartender of sports manga just...
He's just like, what's the next situation they come into? Like, oh my gosh, Ekiden Bro, somebody stole a vial of a super virus and they're going to release it. But you can stop them if you run at an exact equal pace to what the virus vial was looking at. And then you kind of keep it steady, but you make sure you work your legs when you go on the uphill.
So he takes the two mafiosos back to return the purse, and Hara is still there, and he's like, wow, I guess that he has been putting in the work, and he is good now. And he explains, like, oh yeah, runners do have incredible stamina. They can go for like thousands of kilometers in a single month sometimes just because of their long distance running, and they're human-shaped racing machines. And Nobunaga, because he got all dirty from his long run, he wants to change, so he just takes his shirt off and has the unsexiest male pinup that I've seen ever, maybe. Like, it's like, look at him. He needs to eat something. Like,
I mean,
I have a question for you, Quinn.
Sure.
Where are his nipples? What happened to them?
They were molded off. They were considered not aerodynamic enough for his running, so his body simply ejected them off.
My God.
I mean, this is a very ambitious idea of what the perfect runner's physique is, but this dude looks like he's Wolverine when they tell him, like, Hugh Jackman, you can't drink water for a couple days so we can get one really good shot. Like, it's like, why is your fucking body clinging to you like this, dude? I
feel as if in my skinnier days I actually looked like this at points. It's not an impressive physique.
With
my point.
With the cum gutter racks and everything, though.
The what? Never mind. I figured it out. Don't explain. I just figured it out. Never mind.
Good.
You didn't know me when I was extremely skinny.
Okay. Were you in super good shape? I don't think you usually.
No, that's the point.
Okay.
Oh my God. So, as thanks, the woman gives him a little piece of candy, which he's like, I can't eat this. If he was a real runner like this, he's like, I can't eat this, and then he discards it. Hara at this point says, yeah, I'm also in long distance running instead of sprinting. Because, I guess. So Nobunaga's excited about that because that means they're teammates and stuff. Anyway, they go and meet their teammates now. We're going to meet the members of the track and field club here at the Odani University is what it's called.
Nick, I think these are the Ekiden Bros.
If you say so.
Okay, so Nick, 3 chapters in, this is where you really start forming opinions. Who's your favorite?
Forming opinions?
Who's your favorite Ekiden Bro and why?
I like the one who's half turned to the camera because he looks kind of cool, and he has not opened his mouth once in this series, so therefore, he's the best one.
I thought it was going to be one of the characters whose face isn't turned to you, so you don't even have to acknowledge who they are or their existence.
That guy in the middle's got a stupid haircut, I can tell, and the guy next to him with the headband, also bad. Guy with the light hair might be okay, but...
Oh, wow. Nick has a lot of issues with head accessories in general, then. You don't like headbands?
In general, yes.
Yeah, okay. Shit on head, Nick's not a big fan of. Wait, do you hate the Spookmaster General?
Who's your favorite, Quinn?
I liked, what was his name? Hara? He was my favorite. He really got some good development this week. I'm not going to say easy lock for character of the week, but It's either this or the dude in One Piece, so I'm just gonna say that right now.
The dude in One Piece.
I don't want to spoil it. What if there are people who don't read chapters until like they read Ekiden Bros and then listen to us talk about it and then they start the next chapter and then do it? I don't know, Nick. Look, all right, people do weird things.
What if there are people who read Ekiden Bros who don't read One Piece? We're spoiling.
I want to make sure if somebody's like, I'm reading all the manga starting in the lowest amount of time to read them. So obviously I'm going to read Ekiden Bros first. There's only 3 chapters, but One Piece is like 1,100.
They just get confused. They think it's like series number 3, and then it's like, oh wow, series number 1,100 something. I guess I'll be here for a while before I get to One Piece. Oh my god.
So
anyway,
are we keeping this series?
We want to keep on reading Ekiden Bros.
Look.
Why don't you go first, Quinn?
I legitimately kind of like this chapter. I thought it was good. I thought the characters were solid. I liked our little weird hero did seem like a maladjusted piece of humanity, and that just gives him like a funny place in the world. Like everyone's like, "You're a freak. What's going on?" And I don't know. I dug it. I would love to keep reading it, but I know Nick doesn't. So,
who told you that? Who gave away the surprise?
I've just been picking up a small vibe.
It's not like I've been broadcasting it on a sign right behind me that I've been put up every week or anything. I've been so subtle about it.
Open up my window and I'm like, there was the billboard you put outside my house.
I know for a fact that there is currently no Vito in the Bank and Play, but when you pointed off screen, I was like, please no. Please don't do this.
I mean, Nick.
You don't have it. You can't.
Damn. Why did the series have to come out in
Quinn,
July?
I need to lose another trivia contest to you before you get that, okay?
Yeah, that's fair. We're going to have to work one up. It's going to have to be about something I know that you don't.
No, absolutely no. Until I lose another contest and I get Earthchilded with this, we're not reading any more of this stupid series. Look, I'm sorry, but if you have a series and you elect to give yourself the long distance running series, and it's like, it's okay, guys, I'm going to make long distance running cool. And then you're like, and then he runs. And you can't figure out a creative way to make that work for the exact example you have orchestrated to make long distance running cool, except, and then they just gave up. Then I'm sorry, you're not good at this, and you need to not do this premise. It was a bad idea, okay?
Yeah, it's rough. It is very rough.
I will say this. I don't like this art style in general. I've complained about the mouths a whole lot. Like every chapter I've complained about it like 5 times. But I will say this. It gives Daiki no a style that stands out. If they go away and this doesn't work out, which I don't think it's going to, and they come back with a series that is better suited to that art style, I think it could be something, because there's something different about it. And as much as I don't like the mouths and stuff, if it were more a comedic series or something like that, I feel like the artwork is fundamentally good enough that they could create something good. I just do not think it's this. Okay, we good? We're good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll just read it on the side.
That's fine. That's fine. All right, I'm safe until I lose another contest and people make me read it. All right, Hima-Ten. Chapter number 50. The chapter title is a surprise, everybody.
Ooh.
Because we don't get it until the end. We start things off, as we do almost every chapter of Hima-Ten, at Stirback's, everyone's favorite restaurant. Here at Stirback's, when they spell your name wrong on the cup, it is deliberate. It's part of their signature. Hooray. Iomori is there while Kanai is attending, because it's, her part-time job, which was established in like chapter 10 or something like that.
It was a while ago.
So she's like, "Oh, you're doing clean and everything? Yeah, you mentioned one of your clients lives by the last time you came here and stuff." And so they talk for a little bit. And after he leaves, Iomori's like, "I didn't actually have work today. I just wanted to see her." Yeah, that's his crush right now. Sure. She did write on his tee, "Come again, Iamori," and drew a little picture of it's cute. It's nice. So he's also thinking about the fact that, Kanai recently told him that she's had a crush on someone for a while, and he's got to figure out who it is, because it's like, who is it? Who is it? But as he's pondering that, somebody gets out of a car on the street next to him. Is in the middle of an argument, says this conversation's over, and she storms out and bumps right into Iamori. And it is this pretty young woman who is like, oh, yeah, kind of like, thanks for catching me, because she kind of like tripped into him. And then she's like, says to the driver, get out of here, light's green. And he's like, you have to get back in the car. And she kind of threatens him by saying, it's like, hey, if we keep on fighting in public, then this guy's going to post it to social media, so you don't want that to happen. Come on, get out of here. And Iamori, good boy that he is, says, I wouldn't do that. Shh, work with me. Shut up, shut up, shut up. And the driver's like, are you sure about what you said? She said, yes, I'm quitting. I made a decision. It's done. Get out of here. So she starts walking. She puts on a pair of sunglasses, and she's like, all right, yeah, that's it. Done with that. And she thanks Iamori for, catching her, helping her to find an excuse to get away from this driver. And it's like, all right, bye. But a couple seconds later, Iamori realizes, like, oh, wait, she dropped something because she tripped. So she dropped this little pocket wallet thing. But when he looks up, she's already gone. And so the woman realizes too late, like, oh shit, what the hell happened? Like, why has this happened on my day off? Like, I got no one to help me. Did someone steal it? And she ends up coming back to the place where she bumped into Iamori. He waited around for her, and he's got it and gives it back to her. And she's like, oh wow, you waited here for me for a freaking hour. And he's like, yeah, if you had taken much longer, I would have just taken it to the police station. But he didn't have anything to do today, so he would just say, like, yeah, I'll just hang out and give it to her. So to thank him, she's because she's like, oh, I get it. You wanted to like see me again. Like, no, that is not it. I am just a cinnamon roll of a boy. No. But she says, hey, you seem like you're a really good guy. You seem really nice. You're innocent. And you're kind of in trouble because like all the trains are closed, so you can't like get home or anything. So yeah, come with me, and turn off your phone. Iamori, don't do this.
Yeah, I was like, this. I know you had kind of a friendly, charismatic meetup, but like there's a lot of warning signs. Keep your phone on.
So she takes him to a car that's parked nearby, and she's like, yeah, I'll give you a ride home. And Iamori's
why does he need to turn his phone off for this?
I'm not sure, Quinn.
Okay. I wanted to make sure there wasn't something I was like wildly misunderstanding here.
I think that she's taking precaution to make sure that he doesn't post anything.
That's what I presume. I presume it's for that. I guess she just doesn't want him to like snap pick a photo or a shot of her or something like that. Because I was like, I mean, he's driving. Like, what are you gonna take a photo? Like, what are you guys doing? You're not gonna be taking selfies. Yeah. You shouldn't be. It's dangerous.
He just like gets all the way over in her space in order to take the selfie.
Hey, don't mind me.
And so she gives him a ride. Turns out she's not an aggressive driver at all. She drives very slowly, and Iamori's like, I mean, I think you can go kind of fast. I'm just a little bit rusty. And she gets really, really distressed when the GPS tells her to take a left at the fork, and she's like, what fork? And he has to like calm her down. But she ends up dropping Iamori off, and afterwards says, yeah, I'm gonna like try and teach myself the skills that normal people have. Which prompts Iamori to go, what exactly do you do for work? Makes sense. And she says, okay, well, you're probably going to find out anyway. So yeah, here. And she shows him, a program that's got her on it. And she's the girl that Iamori was not Iamori, that Kanai was acting as part of the idol group. She is the girl who did Inner Pocket Romance that Kanai performed. So Iamori's like, oh, you're that like from that popular idol group, and she's like, yeah, I'm the center, Nonoka Himenono. And he's like, oh wow, so when you said you were quitting, he's like, yeah, no comment, and don't tell anyone that you met me today, because no one will believe you anyway. But she also says like, hey, I've got one more treat for you if you do keep this a secret, and she gives him a ticket to a handshake event, and then shakes his hand and says like, thank you so much for everything, and you know, this is the first time I got to drive in a really long time. Hope we meet again, since I really like you, Tanichi. And she's like, yeah, that'd be like what it'd be like if you went to one of my handshake events. It's like, makes sense. Mm-hmm. So gets in her car, puts off, and Iamori's like, huh, what the hell just happened to me? And as she drives off, Himenono says, wait a minute, isn't Tanichi? This is gonna be fun. And we get the chapter title finally, which is Himenono's prologue.
This is only part 1. She's gonna be a reoccurring character, Nick.
I don't know. Hima-Ten hasn't been ranking super well lately. This might be a very rushed prologue.
Well, it hasn't been ranking great because we said like 3 series, and I think
we'll see.
Should be okay for at least a little bit. Though I will say,
I'm just thinking maybe it won't like take its time with everything. Is all I'm saying.
Very possible.
I guess the hint here is that Himenono might be doing something with Himari or something like that. If she recognizes the name Tanichi, or maybe she's got. It seems like there is some sort of existing connection, which we haven't gotten all the details of yet. But yeah, I mean, I'm not that surprised that we got to meet this character, because they did make a big deal about Kanai looking like the idol that she was going to be acting as in the group.
It'd be rather wild if this series is just about this boy's harem, which just unintentionally is like, you know, a pinup model, a like, you know, music idol, you know, makeup fashionista, super air brand lady, like everyone, and then just the girl I liked in middle school.
I think that's, yeah, like we haven't really, the closest thing we've gotten to another quote unquote normal girl is oh gosh, what's her name? Terasaka.
Yeah.
And she's like very much like, I get why Iamori is attractive, but I'm not into him. So she doesn't seem like she's part of that whole thing.
I will say to this chapter though, I think this is where I generally have enjoyed Ono's art in this series, but I think this is where I really kind of hit a wall with it. This girl looks exactly the same as all the other girls in my mind. So every shot she's in, it's hard not to kind of see Himari and also by nature all the other girls along with her.
Yeah. She looks very much like a hybrid of Kanai and Himari. Like Himari's kind of facial expressions and long hair, but Kanai's kind of facial features and black hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot that really makes her stand out in terms of character quirks, at least not yet. She hasn't made as strong a first impression as a lot of the other characters.
No, as I said, right now, leading the charge for character of the week is going to be Hara from Ekiden Bros.
Okay.
I think Himono might have had a shot, but unfortunately, Hara once again holding strong.
Well, let's see if we can change that as we get into Altar of the Flame, Chapter 10, I'm Reclaiming It All. Hey, it's one of the Ice Devil's 6 horns is facing off against Oter. This is the Blade Horn, who simply is just a really good swordsman, according to what Tobirko says. He's got all sorts of swords, too, from what we see, because he's got like 5 of them that he's carrying around.
I admire Kawaguchi, who is kind of sitting here being like, the first of my 6 generals be dude who's a really good with swords. I'll save the cool ideas for later. I'm like, yeah. I might start using some of those cool ideas, my guy.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be doing well right now. You were talking about, it's like, oh, we just got all this new series. Yeah, and Odor of the Flame better hope that they all fall off immediately. Like,
Yeah, Odor of the Flame needs to be like, everyone felt that way about Ekiden Bros, right?
It was I've been looking at the rankings, peeking at it every now and again, and yeah, chapter 1 of Odor of the Flame did okay, and then like the consequences of that slow start are very evident because it just went down immediately after that. So yeah, might be. Anyway, they start fighting, sword fighting with Flame, and Otur realized, like, okay, he is like, his power is simple, but he's just absurdly strong. And like, you know, he's getting knocked around. He starts getting some cuts. He uses the flame power to cast flame from his legs and use heroic vigor so that he can run around really speedily, aka the Ichigo strategy. And he does manage to use an ability to break the Bladehorn's sword. And then we get, you know, a little bit of an explanation that, you know, during some of his training with Sixten, he was instructed, like, hey, you've got to be able to utilize your flames in all sorts of ways. You were the one who told me that your fire isn't just meant for war. You need to be flexible with your ideas and have a flame that can do many different things. So it seems like there's an opening for a second because Odor has broken this sword and Syndra is cheering him on, saying, like, go get him. And then the Bladehorn says, like, all right, I didn't have any intention of using this, but I'm ashamed of my conceit, believing I could simply overwhelm you with my swordsmanship. And the next sword that he pulls out is, of course, a sword made from ice. It contains power from the winter spirit. And like all the power that has been bestowed on him as one of the 6 horns is condensed into this sword, which he swings, declaring, seal sword, or leftover ice. Oh, but we had leftover ice yesterday.
How did you have 2 jokes lined up that well back to back?
So the first one was obvious, and the second one I'm a bit more proud of. But when he swings the sword, a whole bunch of ice crystals manifest in the air in shards of ice. And honestly, this is a really cool technique. He swings the sword, Otur blocks the initial blast, but all these icicle shards are surrounding him now. And then when he finishes the cast, they all plunge into him. That's cool!
Yeah, it is very...
Do this in chapter 2!
Sorry about that. We thought it'd be cooler if we just kind of talked about living and stuff like that.
Just vibes, you know?
I'm trying to think what he even does in chapter 2.
He thawed out some boats.
Holy shit, dude! That's why this series is cooked. He thawed out boats?
It was like one of those things that, like, it was very important to establishing, like, you know, the themes of the series and like surviving and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, but you could have had him also fight while he was doing it. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go on. Otur collapses. He's got ice shards sticking out all over him, including one that is clearly like seems to have gone all the way through him. But he's like, it's okay. They missed all my important organs. The Bladehorn tries to do a follow-up attack. Philgia actually bodily shields him this time. Syndra goes to him, begging him not to kill Otur, and even says, like, we'll never resist you again. Just don't kill Otur. But the Bladehorn says, I never intended to kill him. I wanted to ascertain his strength, and I've determined he can be used. And he declares to Otur, enlist yourself in my kingdom. If you refuse, although I would rather not, I'll cut off all her fingers in front of everyone. And he taps his blade to Syndra, whose body freezes over, and he holds the blade up to her fingers. And he says that true victory is breaking the enemy's hearts. And I'm not going to do the entire speech here, because honestly, there's a chapter later this week. Does it better. This exact same philosophy, this same speech, but just done better. So he says, like, put out your flame, bend before me, and instead Oter, Kinshasa! Just running knee V triggers this dude in the face and gets Cinder away from him, uses his flame to thaw her out immediately, and he says, the fingers you just froze over are the tools that dwarves value as much as their lives. The heart forge you froze was a symbol of their pride, and he summoned his sword again, cast flames out, thaws out the ice surrounding the forge immediately. And he says, I'm reclaiming it all. Everything you stole from them. And his flames are just erupting around him with the forces of his emotions. And in that moment, the iron spirit that we've seen before reacts to the burgeoning heat. That's the end of the chapter.
I mean, I actually did like this chapter quite a bit. I enjoyed the action in it, even though it was a little bit hard to follow. I thought the fight was pretty cool, and like, you know, even though the other guy's deal is just a swordsman, as you said, there's like a lot of visual attacks he's doing with it, summoning ice, using that to his advantage. Like, you know, I thought visually Bladehorn was a pretty cool guy. I'm fortunately not going to make my character of the week. I think Haru from Ekiden Bros still just a little bit better. But
listen, Odor of the Flame, if you want to be considered really innovative, all this thing about like casting ice from your sword that the ice then attacks, no. Defeat people by running so that they give up.
Yeah, this is some cool shit, but like, what if you
Nobody ran in this
Yeah,
chapter.
You didn't do any long distance running, so like, how am I supposed to know if you're even strong?
Oh my god. Yeah, I like this chapter as well. I like the fight. Again, I just think it's a shame because, like, yeah, you showed your hand too slowly. I'm sorry, it happened again. People are impatient when it comes to jump series, and so you gotta really front load stuff sometimes. That's all. Ping-Pong Peril, Chapter 2, second match. I mean, like, if this series literally just goes Chapter 3, third match from this point forward, it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine.
It's great. I love it when a series just does our bit for us.
Mutsuki, who is Mikado's sponsor, says, like, hey, I bought off your debt. So he's blown away by this, and he's like, who the hell even are you? And she says, like, just work hard from now on, you know, you're like, you know, I'm your agent now, essentially. Also, she gives him, like, you know, 1,000,000 yen for his prize from winning the first match, so he's like, don't do that, I've been hiding the Ping-Pong Peril stuff from my sister. I mean, I understand if you want to protect her from the reality of the death matches you're going into, but she was there when you tried to stab that dude to death. So.
Yeah, it's not like she's going to be like, well, I'm glad that worked itself out and have no follow-up questions when you get home. She's like, so I'm not being human trafficked? Cool. All right. I'm going to bed.
That's all I care about. Tyra is warned that if he loses 3 times in a row, he's going to be expelled from Ping-Pong Peril. And then I'll have to start squeezing you two to pay back the debt. So there we have established some consequences to actual losing here. But he goes to his next match after kind of like, you know, coming up with an excuse to get away from his sister. Goes to a bar where he's going to have his second match. And he is met by this bald on top middle-aged guy who is just, you know, like polishing a glass and everything. And he's like, hey, what can I get you? And Tyra's like, well, you're drinking. He knows that this is his opponent because he was told ahead of time. And he starts to ask, like, hey, are you Mizuki? And he's like, hey, what do you want? Take a seat. No matter who they are, when someone enters my bar, I always treat them like a customer first. Tara's like, okay, give me the most hard-boiled cocktail you've got. And so I couldn't get it. Mizuki thinks it over. Gets out a martini glass, starts getting stuff going. He's shaking and everything, pours it out, gives Tyra an orange juice. It's like, why'd you give me that? You're a minor.
It's very funny.
So But Tyra's like, oh, I get it. You kind of saw through. I was just trying to be cool. And he says, yeah, by examining your expression, your gestures, your complexion, I can tell what you're thinking. That's what it means to be a bartender. Guy from bartender right next to him is like, and I have a drink for that, and solves the problem. They don't have to do the ping pong match anymore because he gave them a drink. Problem solved. And then he goes off to do long distance running and solves that problem too. Tyra drinks his orange juice. Good boy. And then the bartender's gonna be like, all right, yeah.
That felt like Florida propaganda. I have to interrupt. What was that?
What, orange juice? It's just...
That was very
we have it in the tap here, Quinn. Like, okay. Come on.
That's what flows through your toilets.
Oh my god. Have you ever seen like the different like levels of pulp in orange juice before?
No.
So there's pulp-free orange juice, because a lot of people don't like pulp at all.
Sure.
I like a little bit of pulp in orange juice. I think that, the little bits add a bit of extra flavor in it. I do have my limits though on it. I think that if it's excessively pulpy, then it's like, all right, I don't want to like chew this drink,
Yeah.
There is an extra pulp orange juice.
Yeah, that's the savages.
I have seen like clips of people like unbottling it, and it's just like you uncap it and like a chunk comes out. It's like a spongy material comes out. It's more pulp than juice. It's grotesque.
I don't like this.
It's awful.
Oh, I'm seeing pictures now.
Yeah, it's like a solid mass that. So, anyway, now that Tyra's had his orange juice, the most important drink of the day, Mizuki's like, you ready for Ping-Pong Peril? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. Let's go to the table. And he says, no. We're going to play right here. The counter, the bar is going to be our table. And Tyra points out, like, this is a really bad ping pong table. It's all thin and long and L-shaped and everything. And Mizuki says, 4th rule of Ping-Pong Peril. I don't think we ever got the 3rd.
Yeah, no. He was handed like a rule book at some point and just chose not to read it.
Didn't read it. This stupid boy. You gotta be prepared.
He's like, oh damn, there's more than 8 rules. I'm actually out. This is too much.
Mizuki explains, as long as you have a long flat surface, not even a long flat surface, as long as you have a flat surface,
just flat surface,
ball,
which begs the question: they could get like a real 1-inch long table and just have to do like crazy accurate table tennis at some point.
Doesn't even have to be a horizontal flat surface, by the way.
Holy shit, that'd be so wild.
So it's got to be a flat surface, you got to have a ball and paddles, and then that's it. No conditions on what type of ball or what type of paddles even. So Tyra does bring up, like, why does everyone just, accept that these are reasonable rules? And Mizuki says, ping pong was originally invented by English nobles in the 19th century as a replacement for tennis when it was raining. So anything can be called ping pong as long as it's away from the rain. All right.
All right. That's our limitation. There will be no ping pong in the rain.
And he does set up a net on the corner of the counter. They've got regular paddles, but for the ball, he takes a cork and crushes it into a ball.
This dude's so awesome.
So he gives Tyra the option of like, hey, I've got home turf advantage, so you can choose whichever side of the table you want. And so Tyra takes a look at it and is like, all right, I'll choose this side, which is the side with the long end of the L-shaped counter. So Mizuki's like, all right, but let's move the seats out of the way. He's very professional.
Yeah. Look, those seats aren't cheap. I'm trying to get out of debt.
It's first to 11 points, and they take the money out. And again, Tyra's like, Jesus, I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to handling all this money for doing these matches. But they start to play, and Tyra, is getting used to it. He's like, all right, the cork ball doesn't actually bounce very well, and also the short side is against the wall. It's limiting his swing because he can't actually get a good snap back, and it's making it more compact. And since we're playing Ping-Pong Peril, this is fair game. And he knocks it into the far edge of the counter, and it goes immediately off of the wall. And so that's it. That's a second bounce. And so he's like, yep, I got it. I got a point that way. This is why I chose the long side. And he manages to get another point that way after going for like a deep underhand smash. And he's like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to beat you. And Mizuki keeps it cool. And he just says, yeah, you got nice control. And we get a little explanation explaining like, yeah, some people would choose the short side because there's not a lot of ground to cover on that counter. Tyra's got this long space that he's got to cover. But Tyra hasn't realized that he's got, the control to handle this situation. But Mizuki says, your strategy is too simple. And he counters that same strategy that Tyra's been using before, just throws himself into the wall in order to get the paddle on the ball, and manages to return that ace move. And he's like, yeah, so this is only your second or third Ping-Pong Peril match, isn't it? And Tyra's like, yeah, how'd you know? And he says, well, you talk too much. You're not keeping your cards close to the chest, basically. And beginners can't really help but open themselves up that way, and they let themselves be taken advantage of. And he says, yeah, so what you'll do is you learn a powerful shot, and then you just start relying on it, using it over and over. So even a monkey could predict something like that. And the insult of him calling Tyra a monkey smashes into his nose. But Mizuki says, like, look, I don't have any problem with your strategy or anything like that. And Tyra's like, all right, yeah, well, I'm kind of glad that my opponent in this match is actually kind of a cool guy. I thought they would be all like horrible monsters. And Mizuki says, you give me too much credit. They continue the match, and this time he puts a lot of spin on the cork ball with the gimlet shot. And it goes to the opposite side of the counter, as in behind the bar. And Tyra is on the side where the customers sit, and he can't get across it. It's all legal, and he's got a lot of room to do that. So, what you gonna do now, kid? And Tyra says, Mizuki says, like, yeah, so in cocktails, gimlet means thinking of one who is far away. She's waiting for me to pay her hospital bills in the U.S. My daughter who contracted a disease they could never cure in Japan. If I were a responsible adult, I probably would have sold this bar my father left me, especially since it's out in the middle of nowhere. But I just can't help loving this bar as much as I love my own daughter. It's a real problem, isn't it, Tyra Mikado? The older you get, the more burdens you shoulder until one day you can't move anymore. And that's the reason I'm still here regardless of the risks. All right.
It's intense. I do love a little detail that his daughter has to be taken care of for a rare disease in America because it's the only place where we would charge a child to live. He's like, if my daughter was here, wouldn't have had to go into Ping-Pong Peril. Just that, that's actually the real lesson of this.
Fortunately, no good doctors anywhere else on the entire planet. All the best ones are in America. Citation needed.
Yeah, Akari's he's got a lot going on. But he also just loves his bar. Like I like to think that like next to his baby pictures of his daughter, there's like baby pictures of the bar.
It used to be a tree.
It's him with like a baby blanket like on the counter. Like, all right, you go to sleep now.
I've got to serve alcohol on you in the morning. That's my girl. Oh man, Tyra gets the guilt going because he's like, shit, like this guy has got a daughter that he's trying to win money for in order to help out. Like, is it okay for me to beat this guy and take money from him? And yeah, like Mizuki's like, yeah, that's right. Winning means stealing from the loser, so you're gonna give up. If you can't continue, you're gonna lose. And Tyra's like, what the hell? This isn't fair. Why did you tell me all that? Are you like asking me to lose? And it's kind of like he's playing psychological warfare on Tyra. And so Tyra goes, damn it. And then punches himself in the face and breaks something. Like, I'm not sure what those fragments are, but there's something solid coming off of him. And he says, You know what? Look, I'm in the same boat here. If I lose, it's over for Momo and for me. I didn't come to goof around. I came to win. I don't care how you try to sway me. I'm going to win. I don't care about your daughter. And yeah, that's the end of the chapter. Is he's going to be like, all right, we're doing this for real now. And I really like this. Like, this is like this cutthroat nature that's just needed to be part of this competition. I like that being pushed forward like this, where he's like, look, yeah, you're a good person, but fuck you. I'm gonna win.
I really liked what this chapter did. This was like a cool like next chapter where we got immediately like a new interesting ping pong match. I like that there's this L-shaped counter element and how we're going to play with it. And like obviously this guy feels very confident he can win with either side if he's offering, you know, that Tyra gets to pick first. And I just also kind of like the way we establish a little bit more about this game where we're like, you know, hey, you could lose, but you can only lose, you know, you can't lose 3 times in a row, essentially. So, like, you know, we're putting a little bit of a safety system in here for storytelling purposes, but also Tyra realizes that to win this match, he has to kind of crush someone else's dream, and it's, you know, it's a good way to set the stakes in this sort of series. If it was just Tyra rolling over assholes, it'd be pretty easy. So I appreciate going for something a little bit more interesting for the next opponent. And look, Mizuki, really cool character. He's not any Haru, you know. He's not going to win my character league, but he's close. He is close.
You have not gotten this character's name right the last 3 times you have referenced that he's your character of the week.
Matsuki?
No, you're getting way further now.
Okay. Haru, right? Hara.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Hey.
Hara.
He's no Hara, which is what I definitely said earlier, and it sounded different because
you know who's also not no Haru. Hara. All right, everybody, it's time for Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, Chapter 52, Roth's True Worth. Kiyoshi just countered Astaroth's big punch and shattered the gauntlet thing on his arm. And Astaroth's like, damn, I thought that we were going to seal our friendship with a handshake. Waka waka. Kiyoshi realizes as like dark energy gathers around Astaroth's arm that it's really bad news. But he's like, that's fine. I'm just going to do this. And he starts using his Ultra moves. Ultra Apollo, Ultra Artemis, Ultra Poseidon, Ultra Hecatoncheires. Lays in some blows, seals them in place, shoots some stuff, shoots some more stuff, comes in for the big punch, and Astaroth has caught his fist this time. And he's like, we're holding hands now. Yep. Okay. So Kiyoshi uses another technique to get away. But Astaroth's like, this is great. You really are my soulmate. Check out this cool visual that should be a way cooler visual. It's just like not like emphasized and detailed enough. It's got skulls in his cloak, Quinn.
It's pretty cool.
I want a jacket that I can open up and there's like skulls inside it.
Have you, Nick, has anyone ever told you about Gravelord Nito from Dark Souls?
No.
I need you to look this guy up. Hold on, I'm gonna get you a link. I'm gonna help you out here.
Grave Lord Nito. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy shit! The bones make a sword arm. Holy shit! He's just made of skeletons?
I feel so bad that I didn't tell you about this character before, Nick.
Oh my god, they're grotesque. All right, anyways. Oh, man. Okay, so Astaroth declares that Kiyoshi is his soulmate, and I'm going to hit you with every ounce of my love. Blah, black lightning stuff. And then he takes a new form, I guess. His hair looks like horns now.
Yeah,
anyway.
his you know, well, I guess his cape was always a hoodie. I guess his hair's slightly
it's basically
different.
his hair. Yeah, he basically went Super Saiyan.
Yeah.
So he says it's been centuries, quote, since I was liberated. Let's see if my body can keep up. All right. So he immediately face palms Kiyoshi really hard. Says they're gonna walk down the aisle together, but he doesn't walk. He kind of darts around, smashing Kiyoshi into buildings and everything, and then holds him up by the face while framed by the moon, and says, "Oh, are you done already?" And Kiyoshi immediately just reaches out, grabs his own face, and says, "Nah, you're finished. Hades, Jaws, Babush." And that does do a bit of damage, but Astaroth just says like, "Oh, you nearly pushed me over the edge with that one, so but why not come with me?" And he, I think he punches Kiyoshi, and when he punches, a flame comes out of his forearm, and the flame has a skull in it. But I don't know. That skull doesn't look very. The skull doesn't look very skull-like. It's just it doesn't have very well-defined teeth. So it's about a 3 out of 10 skull, I would say. I don't know. Flaming skulls normally are like number one. That's everything you need. But nah, not doing it for me. Anyway, that's it. That's it. There was some fighting this chapter. That's about it. Yeah, there was some fighting.
Sadly, no real competition for Hara in this chapter. So
you know what? I actually agree with you.
I was reading the chapters, and I always try to save chapters for the end because I like to finish on a high note. So for a very long time, I used to save Undead Unluck until the very end. Recently, I usually save like One Piece and like Akane-banashi or something like that, like maybe Ichi the Witch. I save them till the end. Earlier this week, I'd read a portion of it, and I was like, shit, the only things I have left are like One Piece and then Ekiden Bros, Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, or New Exorcist, and I don't know which one of those I want to hit first. Like, I was man. These are 3 very different flavors of series I'm not that interested in right now.
Oh man, I didn't know you lost interest in One Piece, Quinn.
I save One Piece. I save it for the end.
All right, Marriagetoxin, chapter 133. Shiori is all happy at the beginning of this chapter, and I'm sure she's going to be just the same at the end of the chapter. Honestly, I love this visual of Shiori coming in. She's, going to Garo saying like, "Oh my god, I've got all the character designs for Specialist Masters." I love every detail about this image of her running, like the way that her hands are thrust out, the pose that she's striking, the fact that she's got a little bandage on her
band-aid knee. On the knees. She's been tripping, I guess.
She says that a friend of her uncle's, known as the muscle animal Shiratori Sensei, did the art. I don't know if this is a shout out or anything, but anyhow. So Garo's like, "Oh, Takeru Shiratori. I know him. Kinosaki and I went to his art exhibit before. I don't remember if this was a chapter. There may have been something that I just kind of I was rapidly reading through and they were to catch up, and they may have been what happened. Anyway, everyone looks very bulky in the artwork, but it's okay. It's all stylized. Just as long as we don't think that Komatsu actually looks like that, I think we're all okay. The vibe is supposed to be dark and gritty underworld. I don't know if I agree with that, but whatever. There's a little moment where Shiori goes to see her aunt, who's still sick in the hospital, and says like, "Hey, I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring with this. I know that I'm not really ready on my own, but I've gotten so much help from so many people, and I also have the most reliable man in the world on my side."
This is bullshit. She's pulling her own fucking set for the Chase Rares. Like, that box's value is tanked now.
Yeah.
She's fucking up the EV of my box.
CEO of the company, I'm sure that's a conflict of interest, Quinn.
I'm taking her to court. She's not getting away with this.
She's looking at Garo's card, and she's getting really blushy and emotional over it. So when Garo comes in, she freaks out a little bit. And Garo says, "I asked my sister to investigate the cause of your aunt's coma, so no need to worry anymore on that." So now all they need to do in order to put out Specialist Masters is get the cards printed and delivered, and Shiori already knows a place for the printing. It's someone that her father has worked with for a very long time, and she's like so close with the printing guy that she calls him Uncle too. But when she shows up to Iwaki Printing, he says, "Nah, we can't take your order." And when she asks why, he's like, "We've got too much work from Chateau Honore right now. I'm sorry." And as he says that, it looks like bugs of some kind are like flying around everyone. Just little bugs of some kind flying around people. And so Shiori's face immediately falls because, like, shit, everything had been going well, and all of a sudden this happened. Someone that she thought that she could rely on is not there helping her. And someone, one of the workers that's working at the printing place, is kind of like swaying back and forth, clearly tired and overworked. One of the bugs lands on his cheek, and all of a sudden, he's back to work at insane speeds. And Gero seems to take notice of this. So he tells Shiori, "All right, we got to find a printer. Let's go somewhere else." The quote-unquote uncle, Iwaki, the head of the printers, is like, "I'm really sorry, Shiori. Your father was a good friend of mine, but all the printers have fallen into the hands of that guy." And he says aloud, "I kept my end of the deal, so don't lay a hand on my family." And the bug buzzing by him starts to go, "They're totally fine and they'll stay fine as long as you all keep slaving away for me." Turns
what
out
the fuck?
all the bugs are tiny drones. And the drone user that we heard about in the last chapter looks like a bug with a giant drone strapped to his back like a backpack that he just kind of hovers with in front of all his consoles that he uses to control all of these remote drones. And yeah, he says to himself, like, "Oh, that look of misery this guy's got. Human hearts are most fascinating just when on the verge of breaking." And all the workers and all the people that have been messed up by this, he's just watching all of them. That's what he's just got his drones trained on everyone. He can see everything, which of course gives an idea of like, oh, so this is where all the security leaks and stuff have been coming from for Chateau Honore to get all their fucking ideas to steal. Phone rings for him, and it is Yuji Mino of Chateau Honore. And he's got big bar going up, big bar going down. Look at the profit margins. Woo, our profits are skyrocketing thanks to you cutting down our labor costs. So that's the other half of it, is that he just overworks everyone by having these drones omnipresent around people so they can't fight back, and they're constantly being forced to overwork. And apparently this was all the doll users' idea as well, to just make everyone rot away like cogs in a machine and make them unable to resist this kind of thing. Now they're all just slaves working for them. Capitalism. It's great, isn't it? Anyway, we got to make sure the CEO is protected, Quinn.
Oh boy.
Shiori is of course distraught by all of this as they're watching, and it's also revealed like, yep, and this is just like what we did with Fute. But the drone user's like, why don't we just like get rid of her like you did with her? And Yuji says, if I get rid of Shiori or Ishino, the ones keeping the order are likely going to sniff me out. Fair enough. Besides, merely winning or losing isn't the end goal here. What truly matters is having your opponent accept their complete and utter loss. And the drone user's like, yeah, into that too. Shiori and Gero went around to all the printers. All of them rejected the jobs. They were all been bought out by Chateau Honore, essentially. And Shiori, just as she's saying to herself, like, yeah, okay, but I can't let myself break over something like this. That same overworked secretary dude comes rushing in and is like, oh my god, an emergency, turn on the TV. And Chateau Honore has introduced a trading card game called Specialiste Monarchs, which has cutesy versions of all the specialists being sold to kids, and they're told, kids, go and collect stuff, go 2 more days till it goes on sale at Chateau Honore. And Shiori watches all this and her face falls. The drone user is watching it all through his hidden drone cameras, which are buzzing around them, And he laughs over and says, "Oh, that doll user really knows what he's talking about. The girl's heart's in shambles." And UJ crows in victory. "These trading card games are nothing but a game made to trick little children." Stop talking about products that children buy. Like that's just every product that's made for kids. No matter how much effort they put into making them, this scheme was never going to get them anywhere. Still, if I'm going to win, I'll crush every last shred of hope they dare cling to and grind it into dirt. That's the business strategy I live by. And the last image that we have as the chapter ends is Shiori biting her lip and clutching her hoodie around her face.
What do you think's going to happen, Nick? How does she get out of this one?
I want this dude to die.
Wow.
I said this a few weeks ago about Yuji. He's just a really hateable villain. I really love to hate the fuck out of this guy. He needs to die.
He should get the spider diaper.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. I am curious to see where they're going to go from here. I do think this was incredible introduction of the drone devil. Not as incredible as the reintroduction of Hara, of course. That was pretty cool.
Of course.
But
that guy just floats in the air. He doesn't even put his feet on the ground, much less run.
He's not keeping any kind of steady pace, I guess, except for the thermodynamical one he's using to keep himself afloat. I guess that's pretty incredible.
Thermodynamic.
Yeah. Nick, you don't ever say those kinds of words sometimes?
You're not as wrong as you could be, I guess.
And that's all I'm asking for. Just a little bit. Let me know I took a shot and it got close.
I don't know about that, but anyway.
This is the thing.
New Exorcist, Quinn. It's time for a wedding showdown in chapter 106. Oh, right, there's a resurrected Hyo over there. I forgot all about it. Who could forget it? Oh, man, all sorts of energy is emanating around it. Niue explains, yeah, okay, so the second branch did cast a barrier around it, so it is trapping Suzaku inside. So, yeah, we don't need to worry about the damage to the town happening, but we don't have a whole lot of time. And Gakuro reflects that it's oh, the date that she gave us isn't until later, though. And one of the maids from Suzaku's family shows up just there. And she says, Lady Suzaku is building the venue for the ceremony herself. And Ishu is there. And she's like, oh, hi. And the maid turns to her and tightens her obi.
I think so. I think she, it was considered maybe indecent before. I don't know. There's not really much of an establishing shot.
Doesn't do anything to hide her cleavage, so I don't know. Yep. She says that the venue's going to be ready in 2 days, and she says the entire family is going to be present, and uninvited guests are not allowed. Good day! Vanishes. Niue is like, all right, this is very serious, so I'm going to put on my glasses and give a presentation like it's a classroom. Boop-ba-doo, strategy meeting. Although Suzaku has been resurrected, she is incomplete. When I took Gakuro to greet Raisei, I rigged the sights so Suzaku is not immortal, and she doesn't even know it. So to ensure she never catches on, we're going to take her down in a surprise attack. That's the only way you can defeat the Hyo Suzaku. Okay, so in 2 days, they're going to go to the wedding, and they're going to launch a sneak attack. If Suzaku realizes she's not immortal, she's not going to leave any openings, and we won't have a chance to defeat her. Okay. So, Shitatsu brings up, hey, Ishu is here. Should we discuss strategy in front of her? We don't know that we can trust her because her loyalty is torn between Gakuro and Suzaku right now. Fair enough. So, that all happens. And then Ishu says, I swear I won't do anything to make Gakuro sad. So Shitatsu challenges her and says, does that mean you're actually going to betray Suzaku, though? And Suo says, oh, Tomei's getting right to the heart of the issue. Yes, that is what is happening. Thank you for that input. Ishu goes, well, Lady Suzaku is precious to me, but I know how to strike a good balance. And then Yozora says, well, it hardly matters whose side this girl takes because we will be there. And Nue says, well, you actually will be important to this strategy. And so Yozora's like, ha 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 ha. Yeah. Nue says, Gakuru, Ishu, myself, and one other will be able to participate in this mission. It requires that we neutralize the curse, Nidus, and can only cover a certain number of people, blah, blah, blah. There's an order. We'll be safe. And so she says this and says, the mere fact that the Exorcist Bureau can deal with them is amazing. And Shitotsu hears all this and goes and hides herself in a blanket on top of a tatami mat and goes, fine, whatever, don't come crying to me. So that happens because
it's because no one was Nue had interrupted her conversation where she's trying to get the one girl to admit it, and no one follows up with it after. Like, she tries to bring up that this is an important conversation, then everyone just goes about with their conversation as per normal, and she's like, fine, fuck it, whatever. She betrays you all, it's not on me.
So Shitotsu starts sulking by covering herself in a blanket, and then Nue says, all right, before we get into all that, we need to settle the strategy meeting. So Gakuro grabs Shitotsu because, you know, she can't hear anything while she's sitting there. So Gakuro just holds her up while she's still wrapped in the blanket. Okay. All right.
I don't get it.
So she says, Nue says we have to get rid of the whole family at a stroke. So let me announce the final member. Scene cut. Cut to Ishu. She is lying in bed. She gets a call from Suzuku on her cell phone, who basically says, betray the group. 2 days pass. Suzuku has made a giant ice church that has a big old staircase leading into the sky for it. She is also leading the ceremony to marry Gakuro and Ishu. She is officiating it. Okay. And also there's a giant ice sculpture of her overlooking everything. And there's some interaction between these characters we know nothing about, so it doesn't mean anything. And then Ishu is crying a little bit because, you know, stuff's happening. Suzuku says, this ceremony here is not the result of divine guidance. We have no need of holy teachings. Actually, I kind of like this wedding ceremony. Our family will do its utmost to forge an unbreakable bond between you two. And the prompt, we remember the instruction from Nue, which was, when Suzuku prompts you to kiss, that's the signal to begin the maneuver. And Gakuro's like, it's almost time. Yes. Suzuku thinks to herself that she knows what's going to happen because Ishu told her everything. She was a freaking parakeet, just gave her all the information she needed and declares, you may kiss. But then, coming down from above them, ninja kick, but poof, the figure is destroyed by a huge ice wave. And then Suzuku realizes, wait a minute, Ishu, explain. You said Gakuro Yachima's companions would attack.
Oh, I think we may have lost Nick for a second here. See if he comes back. There he is.
I'm sorry. I don't know how that happened.
It's all good.
Turns out Ishu summoned a dummy made of her thread, and that's what got frozen by Suzuku. And you could definitely tell that was what was going on based on this frame. I'm going to just gesture at one and hope that there was an establishing shot because I didn't see one when I was reading either time. Anyway, Suzuku basically accuses Ishu of betraying her, and she's like, "No, I'm sorry. You basically said that you were going to let everyone live, and you just obliterated the doll that I summoned. So I know that wasn't going to be the case. I knew that this would not make me happy, and it wouldn't win Gakuro's heart. So I've made up my mind to not rely on you. I'm going to work hard and make Gakuro look at me all by myself." And so she apologizes, but she's thrown in with Gakuro's group. Okay. Suzuku goes, "How can this be?" And then her ice sculpture head starts to fall on her, which I actually was like, all right, that's a cool visual. I wish we had more time to actually have an establishing shot of that giant ice sculpture before, because there was just kind of like the one shot of it. But anyway, she's collapsing the giant ice statue. Suzuku gave herself an ass on that ice statue, which I kind of have respect for.
Oh,
and then
if I make a giant ice statue of myself, I'm giving myself a Pixar dump truck ass. Like, just a real dumper.
But Suzuku is ice type, so ice is half effective against her. So she comes out from underneath it, and then coming out of the rubble, it's Nue, and she brought a giant bouquet of flowers to look cool. And she's like, "Hey, Suzuku, I didn't get an invitation, so I'm crashing, and I object to this wedding." And Gakura goes, "Oh, she just wanted to say it." Yes, she did. Thanks for narrating what happened.
You know, I feel like,
all things considered, this wasn't that bad a chapter of New Exorcist.
I will say, I was mildly interested at the end when I was like, oh shit, yeah, I guess these, like, ancient demon gods would just have some old, like, bad blood between them. So I do kind of like the cattiness of Nue being like, sorry, I'm crashing your daughter's wedding or whatever the fuck she is. Like, you know, I just want to kind of be as catty as possible. I don't otherwise understand a lot of this chapter. It feels like it's like written like those old 50s like Marvel comics were, where like someone drew it and then they were like, just
something different's happening.
Just figure it out.
Actually,
I don't know.
Sorry, I say turn a page. I remember seeing like the original issue of X-Men, and there is a bit where they explain like how they get to the battle with Magneto, and it's like Angel suits up across several panels, and it's like, and the Angel's ready to fly, and then the narration says, but Angel won't be flying very soon, because first the entire X-Men team get inside of a car, and then they're driven to a place where a private jet is. It's just like next panel, and it's like, you didn't need to do this. You could have just had them show up.
It was important we did otherwise. I just don't like. I don't know why they keep stressing the like. You know, only 4 of us can go on this mission. 3 of us are already known, so it's going to be somebody else. And I'm like, I mean, it looks like it's Shitotsu based on the image we see later of someone attacking. But, like, that would be the least obvious answer for this scene, considering the whole fucking background thematics of all this is supposed to be Gakuro has to fucking pick a girl.
Yeah, that's again.
He's not picking his sister.
We've had that thread abandoned like twice after being told like he's gonna pick someone. So, man,
I know it's infuriating. No one in this series is a threat to Haru. It's unfortunate Hara
or Hara for that matter.
No one is a threat to Hara this chapter. No one was good. Though I did consider the ass on the giant ice sculpture as character of the week because it's a real good ass.
Someone had to like really like dedicate time to that because that's a very large rounded surface, so it takes time to come that ice.
And her cape's behind her, so like you had to like carve that around. Like you could have just hidden that in the cape. No, you didn't have to give her a great ass. This was entirely like an artistic decision.
She's like, I gotta let people know. Well, Quinn, we do have to cover One Piece later, but I mean, if you want to step out for like this big blank spot in our schedule, I guess that'd be okay.
Yeah, sure. I could go. Okay. I could go grab a drink real quick, something like that.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
see you in a bit. I'll just stare at the audience while being completely silent with them, or
It's a shame you don't have to do this just because the chapter didn't load this week.
Just to know, there's nothing here. All
right.
All right.
Well, I'll get going.
All right, Akane-banashi story 166, Glow. We get this color page of Hikaru on the front cover, and she's on the cover of Monthly Seiyu Grand Plus. I like the colors in this image. But there's like all sorts of little details that are like kind of like entirely unnecessary. Just one of those like, it's a magazine cover, so there's all sorts of hints of like stuff inside of it. Hikaru is continuing to tell her Okiku's ghost story, playing the part of a very creepy ghost. Who has just appeared to a bunch of, people who came to see the sights. She's counting her plates, and everyone's freaking out because they're like, oh, shit. When she counts plates, there's a hateful curse in her voice, and then you're going to die if she ever gets to 9. And people are looking around being like, shit, everyone's just engulfed in this intense story. The TV presenter judge is wondering, I wonder how this plays on TV, though, because it's going to be broadcast as part of a variety show. And I don't know how all this will play outside of the atmosphere. We get a little bit from the perspective of Hikaru's manager, who recalls a story Hikaru told him of how her big brother kind of like looked after her when she was young because her parents both worked, and as a result of that, when he got really into anime, I got into anime too, and I was hooked on it, and that's basically why she became a voice actor, or at least it played a part in it. But the thing that really got her into it was her mom saying, you're not going to be a voice actor, basically. That's what folks with talent do. And I don't know much
Phil
about voice
Lamar, and then she threw a bottle at her.
But she's like, people with talent do voice acting, and I don't know much about it, but I know you can't do it. And Hikaru admits to her manager, yeah, that's kind of been what's been motivating me. Anger. And diving into competition is just easier than hitting the brakes. But she goes into her story, people are freaking out over Okiku counting her plates, and then one of them opens his eyes and sees Okiku's ghost as she gets to 4 plates, and wouldn't you know it, she's hot as hell. And the guy is like, oh my god, she's amazing, she's beautiful. And the laugh from people comes from the fact that they were so tensed up, like, holy shit, a fucking ghost is here. And then when the guy goes like, oh man, she's hot, they're like, ah, and it just like a relieved laugh bursts out of them. So it's just tension and release. And the big twist is that after that, a whole bunch of people come to see Okiku's ghost because they're like, oh my god, this gorgeous ghost shows up and starts counting plates. And the tone of the story like completely changes. It's this beautiful ghost that draws all this attention from people. To like dozens of men are coming in order to catch a glimpse of her. And she gains popularity as a result of all of this. Kashio observes that Hikaru's best qualities are going to shine from here on. And her manager or agent thinks about, how Hikaru was doing this interview and how at this point, anyone would be satisfied with the career she's already had. But I know the truth behind her tireless efforts. That anger has always been used to better herself. The fuel she uses to blossom, the burning passion that drives you, is what makes you glow. And we get a little montage of like the stuff that Hikaru does, like in order to like maintain her celebrity career, like how she is staying in shape by working out and like going hungry. She studies and studies and studies and all this stuff. And then on the stage, she is quote unquote glowing. And we get this big, full, like 1.5-page spread of her as she ends the act. I will say, I do make the observation, I did say last week that I found it interesting that Hikaru had personified the creepy ghost that was in her story as Akane. And then in this chapter, we get Hikaru saying that ghost is really, really beautiful. I'm not going to read into that at all. I will say that this was a nice chapter. Probably not even the best Hikaru chapter in terms of the performances we've seen her give. I like the previous one a lot better with the setup than the actual payoff in this one.
Yeah. And that's what you saw in this blank chapter?
Yeah, that's the one that I like projected into my mind's eye. So can you imagine, Quinn, that I came up with my own manga chapter and I was like, it was all right. Like I didn't even come up with one that like blew me away either direction.
You came away with one that left you whelmed. You were like, it was okay. Look, I know.
Finish up though.
I know everybody wants Quinn to do this elaborate bit about like there is no Hikaru, all that sort of stuff. But like people have left comments that they're like, hey, I find this a little off-putting. Some people have found ways to read it to like, oh, maybe Quinn's sexist. She doesn't like other women getting their praise or whatever. And I want to shut all that down. I want to say that like Hikaru is she's pretty cool in this chapter. I like that we got to see a little bit more of her upbringing and why it is such a focal point in who she has grown up to become ultimately. Before, I think there was just kind of an accent that didn't really inform enough, and I like getting to know a little bit more about her. It starts to also kind of give her mindset a direction that is not just Akane. I like
she's spite fueled.
Yeah, I like this idea that she is very like you don't think I can be a fucking voice actress? Of course I will. Like, I use anger as a motivator. Like, it's just, it's nice. I also like feminine rage being allowed to be explored in a character. It is nice to see, and it's enjoyable. So I think Akane came off better in this chapter than she probably has in a while. Just in terms of like being more entertaining. Unfortunately, Akari is no Hara, so she is not going to be my character of the week, unfortunately. Hara still...
I observed that your dismissal of Hikari was so potent that you have moved the getting her name wrong from Hara over to hers.
You gotta pass the torch, so...
Someone's always got to get the short end of that.
Sorry, Hikari, but you're no Hara.
We got one last chapter to talk about today, Quinn. It's One Piece.
Yes, One Piece chapter 1154. Can't even die. So we are still in our flashback of Elbath. And this chapter has a lot of little details. I apologize if I don't understand the context for everything in here. Some of these are deep cuts.
There is a lot that happens, yes.
We start at the very beginning of this chapter, detailing that Chief Ja Rule's partner, the oldest of the giants, Ja Rule Beardfall, was killed by a young girl 63 years ago. That young girl being Big Mom, who we know ate a lot of people. So there we go, a connection there already. Ja Rule lost his other Ja Rule. Very unfortunate. Also, Elbath was in the process of being affected by a really bad series of disasters that had kind of left everyone a little bit impoverished. So things are going bad on Elbath in general. The Queen does not want to be seen by her child, and he smashes into her room. Literally, the baby just crashes through a wall and is like, "Ma," like tries to get towards their mom.
The implication is that Loki has been a baby doing this for years because giants are so long-lived. So he, as a baby, has been trying to get back to his mother for years and is constantly getting kicked back to the curb.
Yes, his mother screams when he comes into the room, says, "Don't let him ever in again. Put out that beast's size. It's a curse." She is really selling into the idea that her child is this curse. And we can see the citizens are also taking a part of this because things are really, really bad. There is very little food. People are getting into civil wars with other people from Elbath. It's a complete fight for resources right now. And the people, the civilization are, they're so desperate, they're starting to repeat. Yeah, it's that cursed child. That's the cause of all of it. So someone takes it upon themselves to go after Haryuden, who is that boy's brother, as a sacrifice. Perhaps if they kill him, it will remove the curse. And he does like, "No, that's my sweet little boy. He is going to grow up to be the oldest boy in the world." And that's a very sweet sentiment for a mother to make, and no one else. So this giant is about to go attack Ida to get through, when Harold shows up and just punches him real hard in the head and is like, "Hey, I actually solved all of our problems. I understood we were going to be out of food, so I talked to every nation and they
just needed to wait."
And it's like, if you just waited like another couple hours, really, you wouldn't have had to look so
savage. You waited 18 years. You couldn't have waited another 18 minutes? Come on, dude.
So yeah, he notes that he managed to connect with all these resources, and we see ships full of food coming in. Like, yes, you see, humanity is very, very great. I have found the perfect, system to cooperate with other governments, basically. So they fed us, we will help humans when they need it, essentially. We find out that Loki's mother died shortly before Harold's return, and
it was all the baby's fault.
Yeah, to her dying breath, she spitefully blamed the kingdom's ills on her cursed son Loki.
Just this woman.
Harold picks up Loki and is like, "My son," and has this very big smile. And there's narration saying the people believed that, the curse was the reason for her death as well. One of the retainers tells Harold, like, "Oh yeah, the baby was born with an affliction of the eyes. He can see."
It's called proximity to my knife. Ititis.
And there's a very sad scene where Harold's like, "Oh, can you smile? I suppose not after losing your mother."
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, but Loki.
Or like alternatively, he says that after losing your mother, and Loki just goes,
Yeah, it's basically what it is because the narration continues. Just a few months old, Loki abandoned any hope for love. And there's another very sad sign of, hey, why does my baby have so many bruises? And they're like, it's because he smashes through walls. Let's don't.
reflection of the eyes. Yeah, he just runs into shit. Yeah.
Yeah, his eyes are so bad he runs into things. We see that Ida is working as a bartender. Harold did a lot of things to help Elbath survive its long winter and do things. So, he has been very busy, and Loki was left in the care of his brother's or his mother's brother, basically. So his uncle's going to take care of him. We'll see how that goes. I have to remember, there's so much of this chapter, and I think I'm forgetting what was relevant in this chunk as well.
There's a big conversation that happens between Ja Rule and Harold here.
Yeah,
that involves other bands of giants and the world government's actions over stuff, and neither of them really knows exactly what's going on. But when Ja Rule says like, yeah, so there were these people who traveled to our shore. They sent back a letter to Elbath that they'd all been taken prisoner. So when Harold asks, like, okay, did the world government do that? And Ja Rule says, like, we had some enemy at some point in the past that we've kind of forgotten in our long history, which means that your failure to win over everyone outside of our world might not just be your fault.
Yeah.
It's just like a lot of shit has happened.
There's a lot of history we don't remember.
Yeah.
However, there is also the note that Loki is getting older. And as he's gotten older, things happen. Oh no, the lucky horse died.
No, that's kind of bad.
Oh no, the regent uncle is dead.
No, that's not so bad. That's fine.
Yeah, we find out
that it looks like Loki actually smirks a little bit in that picture where it's announced.
Oh yeah, he seems pretty pleased about that. Harold did all of his great work, uniting Elbath with the rest of the world, and announcing the idea of like, oh, we should have like branches that connect all the different villages in Elbath so that people can trade, and it's a way to create interconnectivity with the cultures and not, insular civil wars and all of that. And while he's doing that, Loki's just a real fucking menace. He's just a real shitty kid. He gets all the animals from the underworld and just has them wreck shit, just has them break things. And Haruden will, of course, bravely try to step in and be like, don't you do this, brother. You're not supposed to be doing this. Our dad is a good guy. And Loki just beats the shit out of him every time because he's a lot stronger.
He's bigger. Yeah.
And they note how much of a bad, wicked person he's become. But we see that it really seems to hang with Loki, all of this. He, falls to the ground crying because he can't even die. That's how endless this sadness of his really is. And
despite all his rage, he's still just a rat in a cage.
Yeah. No matter how much damage he's done, he can never fill the hole at the center of his being. He's very unsatisfied with his life.
We also see a young Gerd and I forget
Stenson.
Stenson, and Stenson's still got the speech impediment, so I guess he's not just drunk then if he's doing that as a little kid.
Yeah. So the top of an island gets cut off at one point, and a group is being heard about, how do we get inland at this point? And a couple figures come upon this kid and say, oh, it's a giant kid. This must be Elbath. And we start seeing characters' faces. And we see Shiki the lion, who says, yeah, this one looks positively demonic. And a young Whitebeard who says, it seems too big. Even for a giant, is he crying? And we are detailed to a little piece of information because Harold talked about how he went to the Reverie earlier and how he had tried to get a full council, but basically managed to escape with his life, thankfully, because of a murder that took place. And the follow-up text is, this man whom Harold met at the Reverie 8 years earlier killed a Navy headquarters admiral and fled. And now the government has placed a heavy bounty on his head. And we're introduced, well, in appearance at a particular detail to a character.
Yeah.
Who says, all right, Brat, because you're going to say yes twice because that's the answer I want to hear from these questions. Question 1, is this Elbath, land of the giants? And question 2, is Harold here? We are introduced again, or for the first time, whatever you want to call it, to Rox D. Zebek, future captain of the Rock Pirates, and for shits and giggles, he's Blackbeard's dad. I'm just going to throw that nugget in there, too.
I guess we kind of needed to get that detail at the same time that we saw his face.
Yes.
Because he does look a lot like Blackbeard.
He does.
It looks like Stussy is there, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Like OG Stussy. Next to Shiki the Lion. So yeah, this is kind of a big deal. Okay. This very important historical figure has just showed up. All right.
Look, this is one of those dudes I've been waiting for his face to get fucking confirmed for a while. Because, like, outside of Joy Boy, I think we've seen every motherfucker this series has tried to, like, tease out to us. So, I guess Emu, but, like, I want to see this guy because this was like the new Vegapunk. The Rocks Pirates had been talked about, especially post-time skip, a lot. So this was the dude we wanted to see his face. We see it, and yeah, once you see his face, you would immediately be like, this guy kind of looks like Blackbeard. And he's his dad, which now suddenly puts a very new context to everything Blackbeard's been doing.
Mm-hmm. I really love Rox's hair. It's wild. It's got the like Yu-Gi-Oh streaks in it, but it's it's like it seems to be gray with streaks of black in it. So, but he like you look at him and he's like, that is a pirate. Like
Yeah.
that look he looks like a fucking pirate, and I do appreciate that. Yeah, there's a lot of nice little details in this. I like seeing more and more of the context of like, man, like yeah, Loki's a piece of shit. We totally, like I would be that way too if if my fucking mom was like, take his eyes out. I was like, Jesus, come on, he didn't do anything. He just wants a hug.
Yeah,
assholes.
that's the brutal thing. I am feeling for Loki the idea that he just wants some attention from his mom, and he's breaking through walls as a baby, and she's screaming at him to leave. It's brutal.
But then we've got that big reveal, and I am like, okay, I am actually interested in this flashback now, finally. So, yeah, we'll find out more next time.
Yes.
But for this week, can you tell me, Quinn, what your favorite chapter was?
Ooh, it probably is One Piece. Props to my boyfriend, who I didn't get a chance to, chapters come out Sunday. Sometimes I just take a little while to read it. And every so often he just kept messaging me. He's like, have you read One Piece yet? And I was like, nah, I haven't gotten to it yet. I'll get around to it. And he was just sitting on this lamb. He's like, because they showed Zebek. This is a pretty big deal. Like this, you like this series a lot. So I think it might be One Piece. That is a pretty crazy moment. And Zebek looks extremely awesome. And I love just the extra wrinkle him being officially Blackbeard's dad adds.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Marriagetoxin for mine. I really love you can see it coming, but just how potent the drop into despair happens in this, where things start off so bright and promising after you've had a couple of chapters of, Shori picking stuff up. She's got, she's showing that she's got ideas and stuff. And then, no, this guy is just such a big asshole that he's just like, no, I'm just going to make it so that you have no hope no matter what you do. Why? Because fuck you. That's why. For no reason he's doing this. He's just an asshole, and that's it. It was very effective on me too, because I was like, this guy needs to get punched so many times, and
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it. I need it to happen. It's like wrestling booking. I'm like, just beat the fuck out of this guy. Come on. For favorite character for MVP. I feel like I've got a harder task ahead of me than you do, because I haven't settled on mine, as opposed to you, obviously.
Is yours also going to be Haru?
No, I think that I am going to go. I think we're gonna go with Ichi. From Ichi the Witch. His confrontation with the Joyous Sorrow magic was really cool. And I appreciate that he, shows another side of his personality, which is just, no, we're doing things my way.
Yeah. The audience, by the way, picked Ping-Pong Peril as their chapter of the week, and they didn't pick a character of the week.
Oh,
yeah. There's no winner. There's a lot of singular votes, which I think
Quinn, you need to click on the bubble on the tile in order to actually see what it says. That's the problem.
Oh, see, I'm thinking it looks like nobody voted, and in the case in the case of no vote, I do believe my vote then takes precedent. So the audience did pick Hara from Ekiden Bros to be character of the week. So if you could put that ninja, if you could lock that in, Hara from Ekiden Boys. And then once you're done with that, could you pop back over to mine, and could you change my character? Could you go back to mine and change Hara to Zebek for my character of the week?
Yeah, it's really strange that our audience just picked. This is the worst gaslighting I've ever seen. Not in terms of how mean it is, but in terms of how bad an example of it is.
All I can do is be an influence to the world going forward. Try to be the light you want to be in the world,
Like a Hikaru?
Do you mean Hikari?
That means light. Well, both mean light.
Okay.
Both names that mean light. So Hikaru is another version of Hikari. It's kind of a more gender neutral version of it.
I wish we knew one. Is there a Hikari in Jump?
A Hikari? I don't know, but it's.
Oh, Hikaru, I guess. Is there one? What was Tai's sister in Digimon?
There was Hikaru no Go, you may recall, the Go series. So that was, I think, a lot of people like that character.
Hold on a second. I swear to God, I bet if I just type Hikaru One Piece, someone will show up.
Might be, yeah.
What the fuck? This is Grimjow.
All right.
I'm on a One Piece fan RPG forum. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, the pirate and shipwright of the White Fang Pirates. I don't remember that.
Yeah, that very famous Bleach One Piece crossover that happened. Come on. That's going to do it for Weekly Manga Recap, everybody. There's not going to be a Hikaru focus chapter next week, so maybe we'll have a normal Akane-banashi chapter review next time. But to find out, you're going to need to tune in. It's going to be next week. It'll be Wednesday. Usually we start around 7:30 or 8 Eastern time. We also have the recording put up on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com, or it's a video version on youtube.com/weeklymangarecap, and it's also an audio podcast feed type places like Spotify and iTunes. The video version's got title card occasionally by Steve Mann, and opening sequence by Marriagetoxin and Winslow Cheddar. Thank you guys for making that for us. Steve Mann's art, if you want more of it, you can just search for Steve Mann Art. It's posted in a number of different places. We have a Patreon for more content, patreon.com/weeklymangarecap. And you can join our Discord server. It's linked wherever this show gets posted to. And participate in conversations on the Discord. Use that to find the Google Doc and let your voice be known so that you also can vote for Hara from Ekiden Bros and make your voice heard whenever we announce the actual legit MVP voting category.
I just want everybody, when you vote for your MVP, you should always be grading them off the basis of, are they a better character than Haru from Ekiden Bros?
Hara.
Are they better than Hara from Ekiden Bros?
You can also follow us on social media. We're on BlueSky, Nick F Time, Rolo T, Weekly Manga Recap for the official podcast channel. You can also follow the WMR Votes channel and use that to stay up to date on when the voting is going on, and make sure you get in before the deadline, before we do the podcast. Okay. We'll have more next week, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry if we didn't give you enough, but I gotta get going, Nick. I have sunburn. It's hurt sitting in this chair for a while.
Really? Did you get
Yeah.
sunburned did you get it specifically at the Backstreet Boys concert?
Yeah, in the sphere, they had an artificial
Yeah.
sun built into it, and
Specifically behind your seat. It was a
yeah.
very strange decision.
it was an awful decision on my part. But the cheapest seats in the house for a reason.
Yeah. They just put your seat specifically just outside the venue.
Like, should I be allowed to sit next to this? And they're like, not without a suit.
Are very strange.
Are they playing Larger Than Life? What's going on out there? I can't hear it over the hum of this Dyson sphere.
You're actually at the 98 Degrees concert. You just kind of got lost here.
I wouldn't even know. I would just assume like someone's nephews got on stage. I'd be like, I don't. Someone testing out the acoustics with a full song? That's kind of weird.
You're like, man, it's been a while. Are they ever gonna do like Larger Than Life, Backstreet's Back, any of that? No. Okay.
When are they gonna do the one? What were the songs for 98 Degrees? I assume like other temperatures. They're like 73 and a half boiling point.
I got nothing.
All right, bye everybody.